Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism back with another live video for you. It's a Friday lounge, so thank you everybody for joining us. We've been away for a few weeks, but we are back, and that's all that counts. So happy everybody is joining us, and a special shout out, of course, to my patrons. They are the ones who make this channel possible. So if you want to join that group, which is the coolest group, this side of the Mississippi, patreon.com/Jeranism is the way to do that. But we're ready for another Friday Lounge. So let me start out by introducing the panel. We've got a bunch of people joining us as we normally do, and some people that might be joining us later. You just never know who's going to pop in on a Friday Lounge show. So let's start out with Rodrigo Ferrari Nunes. Rodrigo, are you there? How's it going?
Hello, Jaron. How's it going, man? Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
You hear me? Yeah.
Hear you great. Yep, you're on the air.
Awesome.
So great. Yeah, happy you're joining us. Should be fun. We're going to get to talk a little bit about some things that we've been missing out for the last 3 weeks. So should be fun. Glad you're joining me. How about Iru Landucci? Iru, are you there?
I'm here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Jaron, Rodrigo. Nice to be again in the show.
Yeah, it's good to be back. One thing, Iru, that people have been bugging me about, we had somebody call in Jeranism Raw the other night and ask about it, and I've gotten a few messages about it, is people really want to know what the hell the synchronicity game is. So maybe if we run out of things to talk about today, maybe you can teach everybody how to play the synchronicity game.
Yes, I was talking about that a few minutes ago with my girlfriend, with Linda, because she was the one who bring that game at least into my life. And I play a few times in the past. I really like to, anytime I have the chance to go another country, playing in different cities. And it's a really not just fun game, but it's also to develop the energetic way of things, of seeing things in the life. You need to be aware of the signs and. Well, you play it, Sharon, and you,
Absolutely.
Rodrigo, too. So we can, maybe I'm not the expert to put the right words because, my lack of English, but I have a few images and video, and I have official links to the guy who created this game.
I didn't know that.
So
right.
so we can, put all together in a super mess kind of soup between English and Spanish, and share screens, and maybe something came out very,
at the
very
very
nice.
least, at the very least, somebody listening to the show by the end of it will at least understand how to play and be able to go out and play with friends.
That's the idea, at least,
Yeah, it's very much so. So that should be fun. We got that to talk about. So if we run out of other things, but no, it's just going to be a fun. I haven't got a chance to do a live stream basically since the conference, so we got that to talk about. The reason the show is titled Friday Lounge number 4 Still Crushing is, of course, because we may be joined by Owen Benjamin at some point. I can't promise you that, but if he wants to join, he has been invited and said that he would like to jump on and let us know where he's at now. If people don't know, which I'm sure everybody knows at this point, Owen's channels were removed from YouTube, and he has been absolutely crushing at another venue, and that's D Live. So, my first question to you guys is, do you know much about D Live? Have you made a channel there yet? Have you done anything there yet? Let's start with you.
No. I have been made a few accounts in Dailymotion, this kind of the TrueTube, also in BitTube. But not the DTube. It's the channel.
Right.
Yeah. No DTube yet. No. But I planning to do that. I always recommend to have, if you are a content creator, you have maybe your own web page. So you like Rob Skiba style, that collecting emails and trying to be in contact in first person contact via email list and things like that, because you never know when you wake up and you lose your channel.
Right, it could happen at any time.
Could happen, exactly. It's worse than a meteor, crashing to the earth.
Oh, it could happen at any second. We could all
in
be
a second,
Yes,
be aware.
Yeah. So this is just a little screenshot, but so far I've watched his last two live streams from there, and the numbers, he's absolutely destroying it. He's actually getting more live viewers than he did on YouTube, which is doesn't make a lot of sense, but he's doing it. Earlier today, I think he had 8 or 8,500 people watching live, which is simply amazing, and it's just a breath of fresh air to know that there is something else for us if anything happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of
going to depend on it.
Yeah, he's proven that in just 2 days. Is that I've felt the breath of fresh air where I'm like, oh, okay, well, if my channel goes, it's not a big deal. If YouTube kicks me off, which I'm sure is coming eventually, because obviously, with PayPal going away, and it's going to happen. But so you can see the chat running there on the side. I have it paused. I'm not really sure why the chat's running, but anyway, you can see that people can chat just like they can on YouTube, and actually the stream is not grabbled even a little bit. It's been perfect as far as the bandwidth and everything looks really good. So it's good to know that we can actually have somewhere else to go. I think that's a positive note about this whole thing. I mean, it's terrible to see him get kicked off YouTube, but at the same time, if there's another venue, I bet you, just like everything else, the good in this situation will outweigh the bad, and it looks really bad on YouTube. So your guys' thoughts on that at all?
Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of different things. Probably BitChute is one of them. Then there's DLive, of course, and I'm just kind of waiting for this YouTube apocalypse to hit. We see what happens. One day before, I'm probably gonna make sure all my stuff is somewhere else at least, so I don't have to worry about it later.
Right.
If anything happens, and that's it. I'm kind of not doing lives now because I'm studying a bunch of different things, including some texts that I want to talk about, and a bunch of other things. So I've been taking too many notes, and now I need to digest everything again and organize things so I can have a string of things. And so I'm not just doing lives all the time, and actually concentrating on getting some things done, which is one of the things we were talking about before here, Jaron.
Yeah.
And I think these kinds of encounters are very productive, because then it covers talking with people instead of just doing it live by myself, for instance. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I like the open conversations. That's why I think the lounge will be good going forward. Is there, there's no real topic. We're just getting together to chat, and different things can come up, and it will give people different ideas for making different videos and taking things in a different direction. So I think that's always a good thing. So, no matter how you look at it, I think we can make positives of it. And I think a lot of people get down in the dumps about things. And Owen Benjamin's somebody who talks about crumbling upwards, and was, there for me when I lost PayPal, and was texting back and forth and just really encouraging me to not bow down. And he's a great example of that. I mean, they come and take away his YouTube channel. It'd be very easy just to call it quits, say, forget it, I'm not doing it anymore. But he cares a lot about the people watching, and obviously wants to continue providing the content, and people like it and enjoy it. So, he goes over to DLive. So thank you very much.
People are going to find him, right? People are going to find him because they like him, and it's his public anyway. It's not YouTube's public.
No, exactly. And then the big thing is the number. I mean, how do you go from, we all have this, maybe it's a belief that YouTube taught us, or I don't know what the reason why, but we've always felt like, oh, YouTube is the only place that we can get live viewers. And if we ever got moved to another platform, oh, my numbers would be immediately cut in half. And I've often told people before, well, if I went and did a live stream over at DLive, I'd probably get 40 viewers. And, that's been my position. But in one couple days, in 2 days, we've had Owen Benjamin prove that that's not the case. In fact, he went from, 4,000 or 5,000 live viewers to 8,000 or 9,000 live viewers just by changing the venue. So, maybe it is a good thing eventually. And thank you to Dank for the super chat. Thank you so much. And if people want to support this channel, that is always awesome by sending super chats, or you can always use Patreon, like I said. And that's really, we also have, if you scroll down into the description of this video, you'll see links to everybody's spots. We've got Rodrigo. I got a link to his channel, obviously, and then a link to his Patreon at patreon.com/anthropology. We've got Uru Landucci, who's got 2 videos now up on his English channel, which is...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and I created my DTube right now, so I'm started with the Spanish DTube, then I'm going to create my English DTube. You never know.
Wait, is DTube the same as DLive, or am I confused? again, this is
You
where
you have the in the same page. I see you have this Steam and DTube.
okay.
I don't know if we are talking the same thing, but I
Well-
created a DTube account right
Yeah,
now.
I think I have a DTube account, but I don't know if it's the same as D Live. Again, showing Owen Benjamin here. He's on D Live, but maybe there is a DTube where you can upload videos and D Live is just for live streams. Again, I don't know.
Could be.
This is what's good is that, we may not know anything about this right now, but I guarantee you in a week, everybody will know all that there is to know about it. I have to research it a little bit. I tried to set up a channel, and then I was trying to get it set up on Mixer today, which I believe if I do it with Mixer, and if people don't know what that website is, it's a way that you could go live in multiple locations. So right now, basically the way it works is I get the stream key from YouTube, I plug that into OBS and go live, and obviously my stream is on YouTube. So I would like to be able to, do it on D Live as well. I'm sure the way that it works for Owen is he takes the stream key from D Live, puts that into OBS, and streams on D Live. The only problem is with OBS, there's not a way to stream to multiple locations, but with the website Mixer, from what I understood reading about it today, you should be able to do that. Mixer becomes kind of the helm, and you can basically put your stream key in, and then it will push it to YouTube, it will push it to D Live, it will push it to, what's the other one, Twitch? Yeah, I think Twitch is the other one.
Yeah.
Right, and then you can basically run a live stream and it be at multiple locations. But all that being said, I'm mostly excited about the fact that if anything happens to YouTube or any of our channels, that we have a place where we can find each other and find everybody again. And, I talk a lot about TFR. I think Truth Frequency Radio is awesome because no matter what happens to me, at least you will always find me Monday nights on TFR. That's not going anywhere. Chris and Shuri Gio have done a great job with that, and it's a completely open platform where I'm allowed to say anything I want. So at least not having that fear, and fear is what they try and put into you no matter what, right? Fear that your channel's going to go away, fear that monetization is going to go away, fear that PayPal's going to take it. But if we crumble upwards and just end up at D-Live with even more viewers, I think everything will be just fine. So thinking about that, it should be good. We also have joining us a little late, but that's because he had to pull into his driveway, is Bob from Globebusters, Xanadude 60. Bob, you there?
I am here. How you guys doing?
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome. So, one thing I just checked my email while I came in, and you remember the guy that made the AE projection map called bobwins.com?
Absolutely.
So he is definitely making more modifications, and of course, Cammie, as soon as she saw it, she said, "Can you ask him if he could possibly add magnetic flux to that map?" Well, lo and behold, he did it. He just sent it to me. It now has magnetic flux from 0 all the way up to 3,000 miles, as reported by the mainstream sources, and it's pretty freaking cool.
All right, so I just
Nice.
pulled that up. I don't see it coming up yet for some reason. Maybe it's loading a little bit slow.
You have to hit the menu, and then it'll pop up. So and then go to magnetic flux, and then I don't know, like go to 500 or something or whatever, and it takes a second to load because I
Okay.
think it has to download the data.
All right, we'll see. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow, what?
I know, cool, right?
Very cool. Yeah, so if people don't know what site we're on, I don't know if you can. You can't see it on the bar. It is Bob Wins, so BOBWINDS.com. But yeah, you can get out of that, go back to the wind, and this is kind of what we've been looking for. Remember, if we put our heights in. The only unfortunate thing, and I've said this a million times, is planes fly in between. Whoa, what's going on here? Don't know what that is.
I have no idea what that is.
It's pretty, but anyway, he might need to work on it a little bit more, but it is coming along, and that's awesome, and there is links to Jaren and Globebusters here. But you are able to see the wind, and, flights fly in between this 250 and this 70 HPA. But it was working pretty well the other day. I don't know if it's exactly ready today or it's just taking a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's working on it.
He's kind of working on it in his spare time, and he actually got the magnetic flux on it pretty quickly, and he's going to be adding all the globe features to it. The other projections and the sea currents, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, he's going to make it just like it was, but even better with more features.
Awesome.
And he's doing that just for the flat Earth community, which I think is just totally awesome.
Awesome, yeah. So you can bring that up if you want, and just by placing your cursor wherever these high-speed winds are, you can figure out how fast some of these winds are moving, And here we've got 152 mile per hour winds. And again, as we've always voiced, it's hilarious that when you think about the globe spinning towards the east, the winds are outpacing the spin of the Earth, which is simply impossible. So, yeah, you can do the different heights. And I don't remember exactly. I think 250 is around 22,000 feet, and when you're talking about hectopascals, 250 is about 22,000 feet. 70 is around 45,000 feet, something like that. So, unfortunately, it's hard to find exact. But who does know it is all the the pilots and the airlines, as they use them often in the South. And yeah, this is 70, but again, this is up near 45,000 feet. Not very many planes are flying at that height or above. And then you can even go higher, 10 HPA. Have no idea how high that would be, but it's probably going to be up around 100,000 feet. Obviously, no planes up there. So, very interesting, very cool. Bob, is the guy's name Bob, or did he name it after you?
He actually named it after me.
Okay,
his name is Timon, I believe.
All right. Well,
and I'm not going to say his last name because I don't know if he wants that out there. But yeah, thank you much for that, Timon. This is awesome.
Very cool. So yeah, people can check that out, and it will evolve over time. So looking forward to that. So very cool. What else is new with you, Bob?
Well, we just had our meetup on Wednesday night. 2 nights ago, our normal monthly Denver meetup, and there was a lot of people there. Good grief. I can't, these things are just getting huge. And, between that one and the one up in Fort Collins, and then there's a huge group that meets down in Colorado Springs that Tommy manages. And the meetups are just really, really getting big, and it's impressive how many people are showing up. And at this particular meeting, there was a guy there that was a federal air marshal, right? And he was telling me all kinds of nifty stuff that he found out. And he actually kind of lost his job because he realized after 9/11, something crazy was going on, and he started speaking out about it. Well, obviously that went over like a turd in a punch bowl. So, yeah, he's not a federal air marshal anymore. But since then, he's been very much in the truth community. He still has a lot of contacts in the federal government law enforcement agencies. And, it's not really a big surprise to him that a lot of these people really do know the true cosmology and the true, shape of the Earth. And, like I said, to a lot of these communities, it's really matter of fact. Some of the people that I've talked to that are like engineers at Lockheed Martin, and that are engineers that other people in a community have talked to, it's like these people know full well that the Earth is flat, and they simply can't come out and talk about it or criticize it. But amongst themselves, it's a wide open subject. It's not even a secret. It's just crazy. Right. So
I've met a few people like that at the meetups myself, and even people that work for NASA that come to the meetup. And at first, I'm thinking, okay, here comes somebody to basically try and refute me or debate me. And what do they come and say? They say, oh, you're absolutely right about compartmentalization, that they don't know what the left hand's doing, they don't know what the right hand's doing, that they are just given a specific task, and it'd be very easy in their mind for the Earth to be flat, for satellites to be fake. All these things are quite easy in their mind. So when you hear that, it really just kind of validates things that we've been saying for years. Big shout out to Skeptic936 for the super chat. And also Commercial Sound and Video. It says, nice work, Bob. You demand, Jaron. Globe bustin'. Hashtag research globe Earth. I know, I love that. I keep mentioning that. I love that the most about the banner that Ross and Carrie put up at the Flat Earth International Conference, because it said research globe Earth, and we just all laughed and said this is exactly what we want everybody to do. So thank you very much to Ross and Carrie. That was pretty good. Did you guys enjoy that at the conference, Bob, Iru? I know you weren't there.
Absolutely. I thought it was totally cool. The planes flying around in circles up there, chasing around each other. And yeah, it's like research, it said research round Earth, right? And it's like, God, thanks for, putting our message up there. Yeah. We want people to research round Earth. And of course, it can be taken in two contexts, because round Earth is actually more applicable, in my, opinion, as being applicable to the flat Earth, because it's a circle, right, than it is even the globe Earth. And it's so funny to me that globers always call it round Earth. It's like, why don't you call it a sphere? I don't get that,
Yeah,
But
the sphere is
so
ridiculous.
much that they do that. No matter how much you point it out, they still repeat it. It's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, they do it all the time. And, I still haven't had a chance, Rodrigo, to go through because you did a basic minute-by-minute review of the scientists versus flat earthers, huh?
Which one?
The one that the Jubilee Media did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't had a chance to watch that, but I'm really interested in it because the more I hear of that conversation, the more I just laughed. It's like when Spencer from the IIG says that, things disappear from the bottom up, and that means that, that the Earth has to be curved. And then from there, he goes on to say, if the Earth were flat, we'd be able to see, I think he said, the buildings from Chicago, or the buildings of Chicago from New York. That's ridiculous.
It's incredible. He says, I grew up looking at the sky. I'm an astronomer. I look at the sky. So you imagine he understands about the layers of air and everything and how that would distort things over distance. And then he just basically turns and says, why can't you see Chicago from New York or something like that to that regard? And it's like, wow, how basic. They really came out with some of the most basic global kind of misunderstandings.
It just proves that they haven't done any actual research or looking into this topic at all.
They come super cocky, like they know everything. And the one guy who's Indian, I think, from his background,
right?
He insists that what the flat earthers are saying, Shelley in this case and Wendell, is that they are getting this idea from the flat earth from religion. And he really goes on and on about how they're getting it from religion. And they're just basically saying, no, we got it from the observations. We're seeing too far observation. And he after they tell him this, he continues to say, no, religion. You need to stop religion. And then comes the puncher at the very end. Because throughout the whole program, they have these little biopics where each character in the program says what they do. I'm a flat earth. I do this, I do that. They leave this guy to the end. This guy who's coming out as this crusader against religion. And then they ask him, so what do you do? And he says, I work with what happened before the Big Bang at CERN. And I work with Big Bang cosmology, which comes from a priest, right? From a Jesuit. So
theoretical religion for him then, right?
Right. Talk about
and he doesn't even know
reality.
that. It's just weird. I was just like, wow, this is just incredible. How deep is the hole for them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I thought that was what was kind of my favorite part of my presentation in Dallas was the part where we get Michio Kaku telling us that nobody in his profession uses the scientific method. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. That's exactly what we've been trying to talk about.
Yeah,
for 4
and here,
years.
as few people in the ground of physicists, they say the same thing, because now they have this, and in English is theoretical physicist.
Theoretical physicist, yeah.
Exactly. So they don't not just use the standard scientific method, but also they don't use their hands. No. They don't use nothing. They don't touch real things. No. At all.
And think about it, if you're going to do that,
engineering or things like that,
No,
they don't build nothing.
And if you're going to have a theoretical physicist, everything that they do is based off an original assumption or assumptions. And there's a ton of them. And so if any of those assumptions are wrong, any of your initial thoughts are wrong, then everything that you're theorizing is also wrong. And
exactly,
just ignore that.
It's a game. It's a math game, right? They come up with a bunch of rules and they play it. They come up with solutions and they spend all their time in these massive formulas and stuff. And it's all just basically invented.
Yeah, right? and the real thing is that you don't have any collateral damage because you are not playing with real lives. Real people. So you are just talking about spacecraft, satellites in orbit, spaceships that are going to reach the speed of light and trying to go or reach certain planets. But you're never going to kill anyone because nobody is in that state of supposedly space. So you can play whatever you want. You can drop your formulas on the table. You can discuss with other so-called scientists. But at the end of the day, you're never going to reach that point where you need to prove with real life events, with real life people. with
Yeah.
real persons. So
Yeah. That is the hook that they have, which is, we know all this. When I just heard what I said and what you're saying, for someone who doesn't know much about what's going on, they may think we're just denying basic science, right? Because you're saying there are no equations. It sounds like we're saying there are no equations that work for anything, but that's not what we're saying, right? And this is the hook. This is how they get to push their thing as science, right? Because we're saying they don't have these objects. Everything's very, very, very far away. Everything's very, very, very big, and all these crazy equations to get there through something you cannot touch. But it's somehow based upon pushing the boundaries of what is known as physics that actually work somehow. And that's the hook that keeps them going, I think, in many ways, because it must have some kind of connection to real physics, right? But we know it doesn't when they're completely speculating about all these distances and all these other things. But how is it? Because there's always been a question that intrigued me. We know it's a game. It's kind of, playing with math. If that's what they call, let's play math games, because people do that. Mathematicians love this. And they have prizes for this. And there's some things that are unsolvable. And I forget the name of the prize, but I knew. So I have some friends, mathematicians. Sorry?
Nope, keep going. Nobody's talking.
This is one of the things. If they, admit it, that there's just playing with math, and it's maybe some applications can come out of this, which can happen. You play, maybe you come across something that has an application for it. Fair enough, in the world. But these guys are talking about traveling long distances, going out of the planet, living beyond the Earth. The Earth's going to die. All these things that they're saying. DNA is exploration. Ice is power. Ice is on the moon. Like all this crazy stuff that comes out of NASA. Like this is what we're saying is nuts. Not the nuts and bolts that build computers and electricity. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Just to make it clear, because coming cold at it, it's like, oh, these guys are denying equations, and we're not.
No, I love real science. The science that I don't love is the stuff where talking about places you'll never go and distances you'll never even fathom. And they can make up anything they want from that point. I mean, they make up things about everything here on Earth that we can touch, that we can go investigate. They'll just make up something. And because you can put it in the media, because you can put it in the news, and you have this mass kind of
propaganda machine.
Right. I mean, it's very easy to get away with all that stuff. And so when it comes to places you'll never go and distances that are incomprehensible, of course, people need to recognize that they could be lying about that.
Yeah, in fact, the word equation has implicit meaning of equal to something, and contradictory to the reality. They never, the space equation, they never equal reality. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say, but of course, nobody denied the numbers, nobody denied the formulas, the equation that help you every day to have a better life.
Build a bridge or build a building, right? You need to know the kinds of materials you have and whether it's going to hold the weight. Otherwise, the building falls. Like sometimes in Brazil, they put too much sand, and the building actually fell many times. It didn't kill people, to people trying to make money, but. The
real point. The real point is what was the biggest solution that space bring to Earth? I mean, what was the most achievement that the space career has to improve the life here on Earth?
Velcro.
And
Velcro. I was going to say that.
Velcro. And the foam of the coffee.
Right.
But right now, for example, an interview, I work in a radio station because I have my own radio show. And when was the anniversary for the moon landings, I'm talk in the radio based on the flat Earth, research. And other journalists from the radio interview an official astrophysicist here from Argentina. So, they start talking about that the crazy people that believe that there is all a conspiracy and blah, blah, blah. And in certain point of the interview, the journalist asked to the host of the radio show, asked to this astrophysicist, which is a really important people here in Argentina. Mm-hmm. He is the director of the planetarium of the Buenos Aires, which is the capital city of Argentina, and asked what was the best thing that the moon landings bring to Earth. Mm-hmm. And the guy repeat the same story, telling that well, I'm going to tell you something that nobody, not a lot of people take into consideration. The best thing was the possibility for the child to dream a better world and better place, and have this improvement in imagination. What?
Wow. So true, right?
So true. Completely, man.
Yeah,
and I
that's what they
have
use it
that
for.
interview I have uploaded in my YouTube channel, of course, in Spanish, but they repeat the same thing. They have like this big manual of answers, that repeat in every part of the plane.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure everybody saw the Neil deGrasse Tyson interview with the ISS astronauts. Did you get a chance to check that out? Pretty funny. But what always...
Is that recent? It just came out? I missed that.
November 25th. So
I didn't get to see that.
You didn't get to see that? Oh, man.
I'm start seeing it, but I'm start looking into it, but I didn't finish. In fact, I uploading my second video was uploading based on the great Tyson talking about that supposedly you must be sent all the flat earthers to space, and then all the politicians to change their mind and have this wonderful, lovely, and peaceful view of the world.
Right.
It's like a religion. If you have the chance to go into the heaven, when you go back to your body, it's gonna change completely your life experience. So right now, the same topic is based on space. Now space become the new heaven in terms of the religion. So you go to space, you're gonna become a new person. You're gonna be much better person, much better human, because you see the sphere without boundaries. Yeah, no limits.
Isn't that what Nixon said, that you're bringing, when they got to the moon, he said you're bringing a part of heaven to Earth?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what he said. Really weird here. This is the video you're talking about, right? Your second video, Political Space Hypocrisy with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yes, and I write it bad. I know that I write with bad
no, it's
in
good.
the subtitle. The subtitle. I correct in the title, but I still it's a bad spelling in the subtitle. But
people will get it.
Because this is a new interview. I had maybe 1 month ago was this interview. It's about his own talk show that he has.
Star Talk.
Star Talk.
Exactly. So they talk about that, and they all the time they trying to bring this idea about that if you are in space.
Oh, they're in space. I thought they were like in the studio afterward, but he's actually saying that they're live from space. Yeah. Okay.
You mean talking with Neil?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Is this what's happening?
Yeah, this is the video here. We'll listen to a little bit of it. I don't remember.
Right.
The great part is, of course, when he asks what scientific experiments they're doing, and I said, please don't let her say that they're growing lettuce in space. And the very first thing she says is, I'm growing lettuce in space. Like, how many times can we do this? And what is the application for here on Earth? We live on Earth. What difference does it make if you grow any vegetable, any potato? I don't give a F what you're growing in space. What difference does it make?
Having potential for future pharmaceuticals, for various drugs.
A little bit here behind.
We can grow lettuce underwater, and nobody lives underwater.
Who cares? Right.
No, remember the funniest thing is the one you should show it later, Jen, from your film, the one that has Nixon together. No, Gerald Ford together with.
That one's great. With Carter.
You know that one? With Carter.
Ford,
and they say, the cure for cancer and all this stuff, and they start promising all these exactly what they're saying here. But that one is amazing. You should show it later.
Yes. If you go to space, you can bring the cure for the cancer, and everybody knows that the new shamanic medicine already done that 20 years ago, and very explicit way. I mean, you're not going to get care of cancer because you go to space.
No.
What are you talking about, man?
Look at it this way. If you go to space, you don't have to go to the hospital and do radiation treatments, right?
Have the banana
you just step outside
directly to you.
And remember that piece that we saw the other day about the astronauts actually having blood clots and their eyes are bulging and getting screwed up, probably because they're falling so many times in their the parabolic flights, and they're spinning around or hanging upside down as well, because that can cause the kinds of problems that reportedly they have, according to the doctors and according to this thing that came out in the news. So they have actual. They've always been. I mean, it's always been claimed that they have actual health problems because of what they do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to mention to everybody, this is Jeranism Lounge. Thank you guys for joining us. And one of the cool things that has come about from this podcast, which is cool, or is it's become a podcast, and I have to thank Hidden in Plain Sight for doing that. But if you guys want to check it out, if you want to listen to it not on YouTube, you can do so by searching for Jeranism, Friday Lounge. And there's lots of places you can find it now. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Overcast, and I can definitely attest to that. I searched it last night on Overcast, and it is there, episode 1, 2, and 3. So if you guys didn't know, it is possible to find this on all the podcast players, which is awesome. I've never done any of my stuff on podcasts before. Obviously, I have my Monday Night Raw radio show, and then all my shows are here on YouTube. But it's pretty cool that people can find it at other places as well. So definitely check that out. That's an easy way if you want to listen to this when you're working or, I don't know, driving, something like that. So just let everybody know that. But let's just listen to a hair of this and see if there's anything interesting coming out. Of course, I'll just start by talking about the delay. The delay is just classic. It's hilarious. And it goes in between. Remember when, Bob, we did the first ever 4K live stream from space and we thought they were going to show the Earth and everything, and it turned out they needed an 11-second delay? Remember that?
Yes, God, what a joke that was. I remember even signing up for that. Who was that did that? The organization, remember that night? I signed up for membership.
That was with SLU. That was with SLU, the telescope people or something, and we signed up for that, and then they just showed something from like years prior. Is that what you're talking about?
Right. Is that the one you're talking about, or did I misunderhear you?
No, yeah, you misunderheard me. No.
Oh, okay.
We did something kind of funny, and I don't remember if you remember this. It was me, you, Morguile, I believe, and there was supposed to be a first ever live 4K stream from space. And so we went live when they were supposed to do that, and we listened to it, and we thought they were going to actually show the Earth or something. And instead, it was hilarious. Nope. There was an 11-second delay, and, he says, okay, please hold. We got to wait for 11 seconds. And it was just the worst stream ever.
Remember, 11 seconds.
11 seconds.
It was presented in the NAVA, which is one of the biggest place or conference in the world that talk about computer graphics. In fact, from that particular event, I take the company behind the filming all the rocket launches from NASA, and I start discover all these configurations and setup for the camera to put in the Felix Van Gardner champ, and how they need to to make a fake atmosphere to the camera work at that temperature. And we start talking about how the cameras outside the ISS can work like nothing. If these guys only to reach 30 kilometers up in the stratosphere, they need to create a fake atmosphere for the camera work. So it was a nice event, and of course the 11-second delay was
classic, huh? All right, we'll listen to just a little bit of this to start. It's pretty funny.
Houston, this is Station. We're ready for the event.
Star Talk, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Neil deGrasse Tyson with Star Talk Radio. How do you hear me?
Hello, Neil. We have you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
Excellent. Excellent. Let's do this.
So you see that? What happened to the delay?
The delay is not working because it's not 4K, man. You need to think in 4K delay. Streaming.
God, I can't believe it.
That's why. Damn.
And now there's some ridiculous delay for some God knows what reason. Look, it's actually playing right now. I'm not pausing it. That's what it's doing.
So, guys, it's great to have this time with you. I think they only gave us 20 minutes. That must be when you're in this part of the hemisphere.
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to try to squeeze in a whole lot of questions.
They only gave us 20 minutes because you're in this part of the hemisphere. As if, I mean, they don't even get it. If their satellites exist, and we all know they can do these spacewalks 8 hours at a time where there is no cutout.
Yeah.
So why would it be that when you're talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson that you can only do it in a 20-minute period of time? It's just ridiculous.
Bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. He's right.
Both of you, of course, are scientifically trained, and I'm just wondering, what kind of science and engineering?
So this is where I said when he says, "What kind of science?" You guys said, "Please don't tell me it's lettuce in space. Please don't tell me."
Project or experiments have you been conducting while you've been up there on the International Space Station?
Their faces are classic.
Well, we have really been involved in every type of science. So far, I have been up here for about...
They've been involved in every type of science, she said. What is that?
Yeah, they do
What if you could
hundreds of
just get away with
experiments.
saying
It's
that?
incredible.
Oh, what have you been involved with, Jaron? I didn't know you're a scientist. Yeah, I've been involved in every type of science.
2 months. I have been involved in an experiment growing Mizuna lettuce.
Oh, here
That's
we
actually
go.
located right here next to us. You can see the two different...
Like, now think about this. How would you need to be involved in an experiment to grow lettuce on space? Don't you just put the seed in the dirt? What happens after that?
or hydroponics. Are they even using dirt, or is it hydroponic?
I have no idea.
How is this place even fit for doing that kind of research? You need much more plants and more space, and this is a joke. Like it's kind of like the things, you know, when I was a little boy, they made me take home or use a bean, you know, put a bean on a cotton with water and watch it grow into a thing. That maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what this is. You know,
it's so ridiculous. It's just.
But they have been doing that from the beginning of the space career.
Right. It's almost 20 years. And, you know, think about the money involved. I forgot what it's, you know, about $150 billion United States expense when you're talking about the ISS. And I don't even think that adds in all that they have to spend on it year to year to year to year. But all we've gotten out of it is that they are testing growing lettuce in space. And like you said,
what are they going to do? They're going to be better lettuce for everyone in the world. They're going to. That's probably what they say. We're going to end hunger because we're going to find a new way of growing lettuce in space. We're going to move production to space. You know, SpaceX going to grow lettuce in satellites.
Oh, I'm sure that will really help the hungry. And we already can't just plant seeds on the ground. And shout out to Zayla Radin again for a $2 super chat. He says, "Hope it adds up. Come on, guys. Couple bucks tuning in." He's always donating when he can. I appreciate that, Zayla Radin. Jay Sturgis said, "Thanks, guys. Glad to support the truth." And Rhino, a.k.a. Bratwurst Bear, said, "Is this space or an Aquanet hairspray commercial?" I'm not really sure. You know, I'd like to think it's a little bit more of the first than the second, but that's probably not true.
And a blue wavelength, evaluating light quality and fertilizer. I've been involved in a variety of physiological and medical studies. We have done experiments looking at protein crystal growth, evaluating having potential for future pharmaceuticals.
You know what experiment they just got done doing, right?
No, which one?
Sticking their finger in the light socket.
Yeah, just finished.
I'd say it was a success.
So I would call that 0G.
Off, it takes a lot longer unless we actually put them in an air path.
So much we take for granted here on Earth just by living in 1G. I have a quick question. I got to settle this once and for all. Every bit of physics I know.
Yeah, we don't need to listen anymore. People can check that out. That's on NASA video. ISS crew talks with Neil deGrasse Tyson. And there's a lot of people who have done, some great little pieces on this, but more needs to be done. And Iru, do we need to watch any part of your video while I have YouTube up? Is there any good part that we should check out, or just check it out in its completion after the show, or is there anything you want to talk about now?
Repeat me, please, because I didn't understand. About what video?
So the video that you did, your second video on MPT Red Pill. Is there any?
No, it's just the first 1 minute, 2 minutes from the interview from the Grace Tyson, because then I just add an old video that I made with the song from Coldplay called Politic. Politics, politicians, and I just, it's a nice letter because that song talks about like everyone who is in the space. Show me real, don't show me fake. So the beginning of the song is, for me at least, is really something that match with the topic. At the beginning of that video is just simply that part of the start talk from the show from the Grace Tyson, talking about this idea of if you are in the space, you're gonna become a renewed human, a better person and things like that. So it's just that the first 3 minutes of that video. If you want to play it, go ahead.
You think the first 3 minutes are good? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll try that. Here we go.
Because he mentioned us again.
Oh,
He's
as always.
obsessed with the flat Earth.
Lately, he's been mentioning it all the time. Yeah. Let's have a listen.
Alexis Wodrill, Instagram. Alexis from Hong Kong here. When do you think we'll start sending world leaders into space? And if we could do that now, who would you send?
Ooh. Which world leaders should we send into space? Okay, so first, we should send all the flat earthers into space.
We should send all the flat earthers into space.
Okay.
Okay. I think they wanted that anyway.
So Kyrie Irving, not a world leader.
The funny thing is, why don't we send all the round earthers to space, considering none of them have ever been there, including Neil deGrasse Tyson?
And in fact, he talks like in the position like he was 30 times
right,
in
he's
space,
been there,
you know,
yeah.
okay, I always been in space, so now send the flat earthers.
Right, he was there last weekend and the weekend before, and so now we need to send flat earthers.
Yeah, it shows also how they need to talk about it, how it's bothering them.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
They need to get this guy out there with this people in space talking about it like this. So it's a little bit of desperation, their strategy.
Yeah, it's not
because they cannot ignore it anymore. Yeah,
no, they tried to just see by ignoring it would it go away. That didn't work, and now it's okay. We got to bring it up and just make it seem as ridiculous as possible.
But he can go.
Yeah, no, just so they can orbit the Earth and see that Earth is a sphere.
Okay.
And then you bring him back and say, "You happy now?"
Oh, for education.
Yeah, I'm an educator, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember, people too, and I don't know if Neil deGrasse ever tried, but the rumor is, or at least what I've heard, is Bill Nye the Science Guy applied to be an astronaut like 6 times and was denied every single time. And so it's like somebody like that. It's like, why don't you send why don't you send Bill Nye to space? Imagine how great that would be. Send him to space. But I don't think that they ever will. Why? Because he may not be ready to be indoctrinated like those guys, to be hypnotized like those guys, and may not give us the answers that people expect or want. A thank you to the Thoughtless Jester, who said self-plugging super chat. Check out my flat Earth music attempt. So everybody, go to Thoughtless Jester and check out his flat Earth music. All right, let's continue.
I'm not trying to get rid of him. I'm trying to help him out.
Get rid of them.
No.
What are the dumb ideas you have? Get out of here.
You demonstrate the roundness of Earth.
Right.
Okay.
We're waiting for that.
Next, you send all world leaders. Okay, it'll be like a people mover van. Okay, no, it'd have to be bigger than that. How many hundreds of world leaders?
Hundreds.
Okay, there's hundreds. Okay, you ready?
Thousands if you count the island.
This is a quote. Exactly.
And pause a little bit the video.
Sure.
And now he's going to read a quote from Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut. And I like to put that part from the Cybrel documentary. When the Edgar Mitchell says that the son of Edgar Mitchell says that you want to go and call. I can't remember the name and kill him.
Yeah, you want to call the CIA and have him
exactly. I didn't add that on the video, but just remember for the people out there, these guys read quote from astronaut like the astronaut was God himself,
Right. Did he read the quote from the Polish astronaut? Probably not.
No, not that one.
It's flat. I assure you.
He forgot that one.
Leaders of established nations. It's 100 and something. How many countries are there?
Is it 174?
100. Yeah, it's between 1 and 200 countries.
Yeah.
We got our crack team researching this now. How much? 195. Yeah, 195. So 200 countries. So 200 world leaders.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Do they get a +1?
Okay. 400 world leaders. I'm going to read a quote from Edgar Mitchell.
Okay.
Oh, thank
Apollo.
3.
Oh boy.
That's the book I read. The Way of the
Apollo
Explorer.
1 through 6 were scrapped after we lost the 3 Apollo 1 astronauts.
Oh, okay.
So the next Apollo was Apollo 7.
That's my question again.
Okay, so here we go. You develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it.
That's why all the astronauts supposedly, or most of them, after they came back, became very religious.
From out there on the moon, international politics looks so petty. You want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, "Look at that, you son of a bitch."
Ooh,
That's great.
That's great.
That's juicy.
Juicy.
Man, these are the same guys that celebrate that Buzz Aldrin, hit somebody in the face. They celebrate it like it's the greatest thing that ever happened, not a freaking crime. Upholdsness said, you should watch YouTube HIITH try to debunk your vacuum of space video. His second latest video, funny stuff.
That Heath kid, he's just a punk kid. What a joke that guy is. I would love to go after him on a couple of episodes. I think we will.
Good. Yeah, Bob does great at that. We can do that on Globebusters, but I try not to watch that stuff because even if I try and watch, all they do is just make fun. They're not trying to answer the questions. They have no answers. If there was answers, we'd already been given those. So.
Yeah, it's hard to devote the time to look at certain kinds of things.
Well, sometimes
that's what I find as well.
Sometimes I think that's all a ploy. Sometimes I think that, by having these guys out there who constantly question everything we say, I have two options. I can just sit there and watch everything that they do, watch their videos, then make new videos trying to refute what they say, and you'll just get locked in that forever. You'll never discover anything new. You'll never talk about anything fresh. You'll just be constantly defending yourself. And, hey, I've said my piece. I've made my video. That's all I need to do.
It's true. It's funny because Conspiracy Cats, I'm sure you guys know who he is, has approached me several times, sending me emails. So is this other guy, Fight the Flat Earth. They basically, what they want to do is they're trying to be really nice, and they'll say, well, how about if you just make a video and then I'll make a response to it? And I'm like, Cats, isn't that what we're already doing already?
Right.
It's like you're just making these videos that are making fun of us. But it almost seems to me like there's some sort of a bonus for them to drag either you or I, Jaron, or maybe Eero into a pointless debate that, neither side is ever going to go anywhere.
Yeah, so it just seems like it's just a dead-end road. Obviously they're just going to scream science. Here's the basic thing, is if I wanted to know what Simon Dan thought on any of my videos, I would just go read a physics book. Why do I need to listen to that guy talk at all? At least a physics book doesn't make fun of me in the process.
Well, yeah, but you know what? That's being generous towards Simon Dan, because the physics book is not a true representation. If it was, honestly, I think we would get a lot further. But what they do is they skew things, and twist them around and try and put them in a context where they don't belong. Like the whole idea of
seeing Chicago from New York.
Exactly.
As if that's is in a physics book that would be true if the Earth were flat. No, of course not. Because if you really got down to the science of observations and the science of how our eyes work, then you would know that there is a limit to what we can see. And at a certain distance, it doesn't matter how big something is, you can't see it anymore. At least in Earth consideration sizes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, and my response to him was look, rather than waste a bunch of time, debating you, and I'm never going to agree with you, or maybe there's some things that I do agree with him on, and, I've already acknowledged that. But for the most part, I disagree with everything you're saying, with your interpretation of it. And rather than waste my time in petty bickering with you, and that is the way I see it, I would much rather sit there and speak what we believe is going on and try and get an audience that is actually open-minded to it, for them to consider it. That's who I want to appeal to,
Absolutely.
For me, the telltale sign, these guys, kind of Simon Dan and others, they live in function of flat Earth people trying to do what they can to uncover information.
It's their bread and butter, literally.
And they're stuck. They're stuck in this position of this kind of pathetic crusader who's out there no matter what, no matter what you show them, no matter what it is, they're just going to continue on this mode, probably like the triggered Star Wars fan, right? They have to prove it all the way till the end that space is real somehow. So it's kind of, these people, in a way, they lost their minds. It is a total waste of time. So and I'm just kind of adding to the chorus. I guess,
it's totally true. It's like, we're all here waiting for, proof of it being a ball. We're all here waiting for proof that we can go to the moon, for all these things. And those things will just never come. And we can keep waiting all we want. These guys here on the other side are going to defend it even if those things never come. So even if we never go back to the moon and it's 100 years from now, let's say they live to be 130, whatever, they're still going to have that same position. They're still going to be waiting there saying, no, it is true, and despite us not being able to go anywhere, and despite the lies
We don't
that you
have
guys
much
found,
money to go there. We need money.
We need money. We need more money, more money. Even though things get cheaper and all the technology gets better and more efficient and faster, just really think about that. If you went to the moon 50 years ago, think of how much cheaper and how much easier and how much more efficient and how much safer you'd be able to do it today. Well, they can't do it at all. They can't even do it.
I mean, because
that's what they were saying when I was a kid.
To space, man.
What?
That is why you need to send the politicians to space.
Right.
To have this big picture and then come back and give you money.
Yeah, they're going to be so inspired that they're going to leave their families and everything in the earth that they build up, and they're going to go out into space and to live in a flying box can or something like that with no air or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like they want to sell suicide essentially for people, and they willingly go for it. Right. In the case of Mars, for instance, that even they agree that nobody's going to survive this if right. That's the idea, at least. So, but. One thing I wanted to point to, I don't know what you guys think, but what I found is like recently, even some of my interactions with people who believe in some form of flat Earth, is this kind of agreement pushing, this kind of people are investing in having you somehow agree with their vision, even though you find, in my case, I found it was not convincing. It's many, many instances, what they were saying is not convincing, but then they really wanted me to agree, and then they get pissed off if I don't agree. And, it wasn't convincing to me. I need to agree to disagree, And I don't know if this is something that bothers you, but I just wanted to throw it out there that sometimes for me, it makes me a little bit iffy about, what am I doing? If you're, even within Flat Earth, you have these positions, you have a lot of preachiness, you have a lot of prejudice in some ways that gets kind of builds around people somehow, and I'm kind of I want to move forward,
right,
sort of thing.
No,
I don't know if you feel like that, because you guys have much more experience going to the meetups and everything, so I think it's a different picture for you.
No, I think sometimes it's the same. Is because this is my belief. This is what I believe. That's why I made a channel when I originally made a channel. Is hey, I can make a YouTube channel. I can talk about things that I believe, and whether 50 people listened or whether 5,000 people listened, of course, to start it off. Only 50 people were listening, or 25, and when I remember when I got my first subscriber. But all it's about is my opinion, my beliefs, and that's all that it is. And I don't care what other people's beliefs are. If you want to go and fall into this whole trap of believing in the things in the outer skies, then you're just following for another religion. Case in point here, we've got a super chat from Eagle, Plane, and Anchor who said, the priest tells you he knows how to get to heaven, may even say he's been there in the flesh and returned in the flesh, can't get you there before you die. He needs your money before you die. And it's the same kind of thing. Give us more money, give us more money. We're going to expand, we're going to grow, we're going to put colonies on Mars, we're going to put colonies on the moon. And these things are not happening in people's lifetimes. So people just continue to give, and it comes out of your taxes. You don't even have a choice. Again, a lot of people ask me, why do you care so much about NASA? You tell people if they don't like what you're saying to just turn it off. If you don't like what NASA's saying, just turn it off. Huge difference. Those things are being taught in schools through public education, which people think is great, right? Oh, it's free. It's even like a daycare. Sending your child to public school is like a daycare because you can go out and work and you can earn more money while your child is sitting in a chair and given indoctrination after indoctrination, and they just grow to believe these things. And that's what happened to all of us. And it's a scary thought that you can't break free of that. Now, some people break free, other people never will. And those are the people, the Simon Dans out there. I don't expect them to change their mind. I certainly have never made a video and will never make a video with the intent of changing Simon Dan's mind. So, it's the last thing I've ever dreamed of. Yeah. I could care less. Couldn't care less. Sorry. I use that all the time. Hey, I got to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. You guys go ahead and talk about whatever you want.
Well, alrighty then. We'll do that.
Or dead air, and Rodrigo can play some guitar.
Awkward silence.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right, cool. Yeah.
You can talk bad about Jeran now because he left.
We can definitely talk crap about Jeran. Awesome. No, seriously though. But yeah, I mean that's what it is. I mean, you go to these things and you watch channels like Baldy Cat or Conspiracy Cats or Baldy Cats, whatever it is. And I have to admit, I mean, there are parts of the guy that I actually kind of like. He's got a good sense of humor, but I mean, his propaganda is just over the top wrong. And, you know, it's amazing to me that he really wants to, you know, initiate me in any kind of debate, even if it's about gravity, because he knows that, you know, I believe that there is something that is causing an acceleration, and, you know, and he's very interested in the fact that I'm at odds with about half of the flat Earth community in that belief. And it's like, but the last person I really want to, you know, take as a supporter is somebody like Conspiracy Cats. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's like there's like a bonus for them to get flat earthers to come on their show, and they're always wanting to do a debate. Yeah. It's like I have no interest in that whatsoever, you know, like whether we're in agreement or not.
It's Brian sees you as a trophy, you know, this kind of idea. You know, that's exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
No, I am interrupt you, man. But because that kind of, I believe that kind of time just passed away. You know, at the beginning of the flat Earth, you know, the first 2 years, 3 years, maybe the debate was a little more hot topic and more necessary. But right now it's like, okay, we debate every topic that we has to debate it, and we are waiting for real proof, for real evidence, for real observation that contradict the flat Earth observation. And not only that, but here, because I have here in the Spanish community, I have a lot of debate. And once was a debate which was trending topic in Twitter 2 years ago, in one of the most radio shows that we have here in Argentina. And I was like the 3 days before going to the debate, I can't even eat, you know, because my body is spread out, you know, because I was exactly so nervous about it, because I was to debate with the director of the Meteorological Society here in Argentina. So I expect that the guy destroy me. And that was not the case. In fact, he was really bad in terms of the debate. The people, you know, get laugh about the guy. And but the thing is that after that experience, because after all, that kind of things impact in your real life, in your health. So after that kind of experience, I start saying, okay, if I go into debate again, I'm going to make it in some particular way that has a real impact in society. And what I mean with that is I'm going to debate in a university place, for example, with some guy that it's not just going to be a debate. I want to a conclusion that like the media has, you know, to take the topic and say, okay, we're going like a politician's candidate debate, you know, something like go really public and has a really impact in the society. Because if not, it's just, you know, just a girl fight, you know, in YouTube. And you spend a lot of time, you put on effort, your health, trying to make the things better. And for what? For comply the Roman circus. You know, we want more blood, you know.
Right.
No, there's one thing I would add here, just to make sure we get this, because what Bob was talking about is like a troll in a channel on YouTube whose life, he lives in function of flat earthers existing. He doesn't have anything else to do, and he gets money off his activities attacking Bob and other people. This is one kind of person. The kinds of people that Ito has debated, even though he's saying here that he's, you know, he makes it very nervous, and it you know, maybe not so many people are watching, but he was talking about director of a meteorological society. I mean, and he's done some other ones that I've seen with people who are geologists and so on, right? So there's, you found that there was, you know, a need to talk to some of these people because at least they present themselves as experts. And then what you found, and what I found watching you debate some of these geologists, is that they really underprepared, have no idea how far your research goes, and they get blasted.
I'm talking about the background, you know, the place. I mean, my debate was in a radio show. Okay, it was one of the biggest radio show in Argentina, but the listeners, you know, the people there is no authority behind that, you know. And sometimes in these cases, with this kind of debate, we have been so mature that we need to, because after all, the heliocentric model, the only way to sustain is based on the authority. Because you don't have any other way, because after all, you need the supposedly images of photograph from space, and that it only came from the institution of authority. So if we're going to play with that cards, okay, we're going to make a debate where the authority, quote unquote, has, the obligation to give a verdict, to give a result, or whatever you want to call it. So my debate was with real people, with people with titles, but not in the correct atmosphere, environment of academy or university or something like that.
Court case, almost like is what you're saying.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Could be.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And that's what makes it so tough. I mean, I'm not a debater. I've had no debate experience, but I understand what Iru's saying is that if we can get this in some sort of university auditorium where there will be ramifications for that debate, then it makes it much more enticing rather than just, like Iru said, another girl fight on YouTube.
Sometimes I wonder if you are inside of my brain, Jen, and I start to be worried. Because with your Patreon, you don't have access to my consciousness, okay?
I do.
Just my right arm.
No.
Okay?
When I upped the amount, it gave me access to consciousness. That was one of the levels.
I need to read my
read your levels again.
Politic privacy,
Yeah, read the privacy policy, please. No, so I mean, I totally agree with that, but it just gets ridiculous when it's the same things over and over again, and we're waiting for real proof, real evidence, not Simon Dan's explanation of these things, or trying to get with a wordsmith, get around it, and with a script in front of him of exactly how he's going to go and attack these things. When at the end of those videos, and believe me, it's not like I never watched any of his videos. It was I watched too many of them at the beginning, over and over again, and just realized nothing's coming out of this. These are no proof. These are no evidence. This is just, oh, you guys are seeing it wrong. Oh, you don't understand. Oh, we've known this for thousands of years. We've heard all that, One of the things, I don't know if you guys saw this the other day, is on livescience.com. If I can get this site to come up. What's going on here? Come on. Wake up, computer. There we go. So did you see this, that we got lucky here that NASA spots the crash site and debris from India's lost moonlander.
They always do that.
Look at
Look, that green and blue dot. No doubt about it.
No doubt.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
But just so you guys know, the green is debris and the blue is soil disturbance. Okay?
Oh.
Yeah, in case you
they had the footprints of astronauts at some point.
Right, and the tracks.
Some years ago.
And the NASA fanboys are orgasmic over it. You know?
And that would just be impossible to fake. I mean, there's no way you could just have this little image here from a telescope view of the moon and then put a bunch of green and blue dots on there.
No, that's too hard, Jern. That's
very difficult.
What do you do?
And this
is translation of scientific
digital,
data.
man. That's digital. That is not even a telescope picture. I mean, that is a bump with a normal bump map in the plane, not even in the sphere. That is it's just in the simple plane.
Iru could make this in 45 seconds.
No, that is an insult, man.
Sorry.
This is made in 2 seconds because you download, NASA give you for free all the maps that you need to, to fill up the channels in your 3D software. So you just downloaded the maps, put into the plane, and then with Photoshop or maybe Paintbrush, you can paint those green and blue dots in the images, and then you have all the propaganda machine to publish and done.
Oh boy. Yeah, it says the India's Chandrayaan-2 mission to the moon included a lander called Vikram, which was meant to gently land on the lunar surface near the South Pole on September 6th, but near the end of the touchdown maneuver, as we all saw, India's space agency said that it spotted the lander soon after via the orbiter component of the mission, but the agency never released those images, and NASA's long-standing LRO hadn't had the same luck, and it says now that last part has changed. The NASA spacecraft's first passed over the impact site September 17th, and LROC team published the resulting image later that month, even though they didn't think they'd found any sign of the crash. But in that image, someone named Shanmughu Submarinian spotted one extraordinarily bright pixel and reached out to the LROC team. Oh, thank goodness he reached out, and now they can see that there is a it's just ridiculous. I don't know who's buying this stuff anymore, but the sad part is it's about 99% of the world. That's the sad part.
Yes, that's the sad part, man. I mean,
yeah, I really wish it wasn't the case, but hey, and this is all we can do. And again, I'm in the same camp as a lot of people when I say you can believe this if you want. If you want to fall for this, it'd be the equivalent of them showing you that Jesus is building mansions in the sky by showing you little dots in the blackness of space.
And you've noticed the whole triangle. Some people have pointed out that there's a Masonic compass and triangle in the middle of this. You can kind of tell from here.
Yeah, in fact, the Indian country is like Argentina is a British Empire part of the world. I mean,
yeah, no, it's crazy, just crazy. All the things that come out, and that's what we do is just give people an alternative. Because again, believe this all if you want, and I think it might get nauseating for people to hear me say it over and over again. Believe what you want, do your own research, but. Really, that's what it comes down to, and that's what I think is awesome about YouTube is we're able to make a channel. We're able to talk about the things we want. We're not a danger. We're not dangerous to society unless you're in a position of power, and the things that we are saying are calling a lot of what you back and a lot of what you say as horseshit. So are we dangerous to those positions of power? Yes, but that's exactly what free media is supposed to be doing. That's exactly what the real media should be doing, not just beholden to whoever owns them. And we know that there's just a few individuals who own the entirety of media. We've said that a million times. So,
yeah.
Go ahead, Bob,
so
sorry.
true.
You make a conference about it.
We should. Or did
I think it is important not to be preachy. This is one of the things that for me is a lesson from the whole thing the last years or so. That I don't want to be preachy about exactly what you just said. And I think it's important to repeat it that people have to make their own minds about everything.
Right.
Don't follow anyone. Go and do the hard work, which is looking up the stuff and
because if I'm just,
figure out for yourself.
If I'm just going and saying this is true, this is true, this is true, and you better believe me, and if you don't, well, then I'm no different than the people that I can't stand, who are the people that are coming out and saying that exact same thing. But you're not getting these Glober channels to come out and say, believe in the flat earth if you want. They're telling you that they're right. This is why this book says so, even though they've never been anywhere near any planet. They've never been anywhere near any vacuum of space, even though there's no such thing as any way that a vacuum could even exist next to this gas pressure. They're going to make every excuse possible to make you have to believe that nonsense. I'm in a completely different position. I'm not trying to make every excuse possible for you to believe what I'm saying. I'm telling you, here is their claim, and I don't agree with it, period. That's it. That's as simple as this channel is. It's as simple as my videos are. Here's what we're being told. Here's why I don't believe it. Period. End of story. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to be a subscriber to me. In fact, I really don't care. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. Is I'm certainly, and if you look at my channel for the past 4 years, one of the things I haven't been doing is I'm not out there trying to get more and more viewers and get more. I'm trying to get famous, and I want my name in the news, and I want my name in every article. That's just not me. Because that's not what my channel started from the beginning. My channel from the beginning was, here's me, here's my opinions, here's my thoughts. You don't have to believe me, you don't have to agree with me. And I've kept it the same all the way through. And I think at least a lot of people recognize that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in fact, you are not even, sorry, Bob. I mean, your YouTube channel is not even in places like Social Blade of these patronships things. Like, all the rest of the globehead has.
No, and there's just something I just don't have time for. Twitter to me becomes like a war back and forth. Yeah, do I sometimes post on Twitter? Sure, occasionally, and then also I think I have it set up where if I like a video, maybe it posts on Twitter, but I'm certainly not there going back and forth. I'm also on Instagram trying to get everybody from every direction. I'm not. My hope is that people find this material if they're looking for it. It's also something that I never had the ability to question growing up. I never had the ability to question where we lived. I just was told where we live and told that it was fact and told that it was scientific and told that it was following the scientific method. Well, I just showed people that you got people like Michio Kaku saying, not some people in my industry, not a few people. He says he knows of no one in his study that follows the scientific method. Well, I believe people have every right to hear that. and to every right to really consider that and think, well, wait a second, we've got theoretical physicists going around dictating what the universe is, what happened at the Big Bang, how old the Earth is. We can rewind the sky clock, all these things, yet they don't follow the scientific method. None of them, not just some.
No, it's a religion. It's absolutely a religion.
And I think that's the thing. People have every right to hear that and understand that and to grasp that and then to decide for themselves. It's just like once you hear, that a lot of Christians will say, oh, well, it comes down to faith, right? Well, that's great as long as people understand that, and if they want to believe in that, then they grasp that and they go forward with that knowledge that, okay, this is a lot based on faith. Okay, that's great. As long as they understand that. Well, I hope the same is true for the space religion, which is people need to understand that it is just that. It's a faith-based religion. That's it. If you want to believe in it, hey, I'm not going to stop you. I don't care if you believe in, Hasidic Judaism. Go ahead. That's fine. If that's what you've found to be your truth, if that's what you've adopted as your belief system, that's fine. But I have every right to say why I don't agree with it and to put videos forth saying this is my opinion of that. And if people listen to that and say, oh, I agree with what you're saying, more power to them. And if they say I don't agree with what you're saying, I want to continue believing my religion, they have every right to do that as well.
Yep,
and that's a kind of segue into Bob's flat Earth religion.
Here we go, Bob. This is the time for it.
I was just going to say that. Speaking of religious positions.
All right, here we
go. All right, guys. So this is what I wanted to talk about today, and I don't even care that I'm the one to bring this up because I'm always the one that's thinking a little differently. But I have to say that the more I think about this, the more I really think that it's a good idea. And what I'm talking about is on Wednesday night, 2 days ago, we had our meetup in Denver down at Goosetown Tavern, and I was talking to David Gordon about he is actually investigating what it would take to set up a new religion or a new church, right? And he says, it's really quite amazing, and you get all kinds of nifty benefits. But he said, what do you think about if we were to turn flat Earth into a religion? And I thought about it at first, and I thought, oh, that's crazy. I don't know if we want to go down that road. And then he started talking to me more about it, and I started, kind of getting what he was saying, in that it allows us an opportunity to use the system against them, right?
Yeah, it's like having our own soccer team, things like that. It's trolling the system.
Like Scientology uses the system in a way to. I mean, it's doing an evil way, but what you're saying is like get the benefits that religions get, not paying taxes and all this other stuff, to put it on research for the flat Earth. Maybe that's what you.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and that's always nice, not having to pay taxes, 501c3, whatever. But that really is not what I was focused on. What I was thinking of is more along the lines of First Amendment enforcement, right? Flat Earth is absolutely, unequivocally the most bullied, badgered, made fun of, maligned. I mean, you name it. If it's bad, it applies to Flat Earth. So. As many people know, if you say anything against religion, Judaism or anything like that, I mean, the powers that be come down on you like a sledgehammer, essentially. So I'm thinking to myself, well, if we were to actually get serious and make this, into a religion and claim it under a religious context, then, we got YouTube. We could literally go after them on a legal basis and even get representation for free from organizations that do this under a right of religious freedom, right? It's like, oh, they're discriminating against us because we believe the earth is flat. We believe that, in some instances, the Bible, a lot of the community flat out believes that the Bible is quite literal about the cosmology, right? So we have biblical backing. I think the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking this is really a good idea to combat our adversaries in this. And I'm really, I really want to hear all sides to this, but man, I can't see a drawback to it. What do you guys think? Give me your thoughts.
Well, who wants to say first? I think the problem with this is that when you create a structure that's a hierarchical structure of power, you can have people abusing that power eventually. You never know who's going to step in. So you have to have a very tight or well thought out plan for dealing with the possible eventualities of somebody, for instance, breaking into the group and taking over it. For instance, somebody who wants to infiltrate and take over. There's things like that could happen, right? Over time. So what is the structure at the end? How it's going to be used? All those plans have to be in place so that they cannot be. Because we know, even if it obviously if it is a very good idea as well, you need to protect it. So I mean that's one of the things that worries me, because we know when people take over positions of power, they tend to, it's possible that they can.
I get that, and honestly, that is about the furthest thing that I was looking at. I mean, I suppose there's potential for corruption in all kinds of things like that. But I mean, and I'm also seeing kind of a mixed response in the chat from it, but. But honestly, the one thing that I think is the best thing about it is that flat Earth is the truth, and we all believe that. Whether we believe in different types of models into this cosmology or not, we certainly believe that. Well, at least I do. I'll speak for myself. That the cosmology that is described in not only the Christian Bible, but a lot of the world religions around the world is a flat, motionless cosmology, and so it would be something that I believe would be based in truth. And yeah, I know that a lot of the objections to something like this are just like what you said, Rodrigo. It's like, well, it has the potential for abuse. Well, you know what? What doesn't, right? What? Well,
there's okay, but I'm just trying to think, our way out of this. And if there's a way to declare it as a religion without having a structure of hierarchy, like say a decentralized religion, there's something that people have, the idea that Christians say, well, it's in the Bible. Jesus says, if there's 2 or 3 together in my name, that's all you need. I'm there. So you don't need a church. Everybody knows that. So if it can be made the claim in terms of kind of human rights, I think it's already there. That's, as you just suggested, what you said, that there are all these other worldviews that have a flat Earth, and one of them is the Vedic one, for instance, and that is obviously a flat Earth. So you can say, I believe in it because I'm religious, but that's not fair because it's not what it is. If I say, I look at all this Vedic stuff and I come to realize that they really thought it was flat, I'm still not a religious Vedic person. I'm not following that, or whatever religion there is now that represents that. I totally reject all of that. I'm just looking at the text and looking what I find. So how can I be protected under your clause? For me, it would be, if this thing is completely decentralized, it can be declared as a religion. In that sense, there is a connection to and it is, and for a lot, and it encapsulates a feeling of a lot of people. You're right, of course. A lot of atheists transforming. Many, David Weiss, for instance, right, mentioned that. It's a story. So there's something for sure, but the problem would be if there's people try to make it a conventional religion, and they're going to put some people who have authority over it, who represent it bureaucratically, who that kind of thing. That's what I think it shouldn't have, because that really doesn't jive with what's going on, which is
I agree.
People with people, horizontal kind of.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with that. I'm looking at it from one angle, really, and one angle only. And granted, it may be myopic, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's a terrible idea," and okay, it's like I really want to know why. What I want to hear in detail from people, why they think that. But on the other hand, where I'm focused at is the benefits, and especially combating our opponents who are trying to shut us down based on, well, your belief in flat Earth is harmful to the schools, whatever. I mean, honestly, if you classified this under a religion, right, then, well, it's protected under the First Amendment, point blank, right?
Well, but there's the other side of it, which is Mike Kavanaugh's, approach. This is defamation. If they're saying something about you and they're lying about you, they shouldn't be saying that. And there's also, in this case, and I've seen in Brazil, and I believe it, the hate crime applies. Some people think there's a free pass on flat earthers and they can just go after them. Like, it's hunting season. And that is just, you cannot commit, it's a kind of hate crime. It's going against a group in particular that you're targeting. It just shouldn't be there already, But
Right.
I get what you're saying, that this would add a whole other layer of saying, stay away from here, don't threat on me, kind of thing.
Right. It gives us it's essentially intense First Amendment protections. And okay, so people that would then say, well, what exactly would the theology be behind this? Well, that's a good question, and I honestly, I have not even gone there with that, but I think we could start with the cosmology for one, the fact that we do believe in a creator for another. Now, the characteristics of that creator, yada, 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 that's something that I think that could and would be left largely open to interpretation, whether you have a Christian type of interpretation or a Muslim or whatever. Those are things I really haven't thought through. Right. I mean, like I said, guys, I'm looking at this from the point of view of trying to combat the people that are trying to shut us down based on any nonsensical possibility. And, I don't know. That's just where I'm coming from. What do you think, Jaron?
Well, I think that the First Amendment is covers all that. I don't really need to have a religion in order to fit into the First Amendment. I have a freedom of speech. So to me, a religion is just a collection of beliefs. And
but that's not helping us right now.
No,
we have that First Amendment, but look at it this way: we can say to YouTube, all right, you're shutting us down because you believe that this is a harmful as far as science and stuff like that. But if you put it under a context, then you can say, all right, YouTube, what you're doing now is you are censoring us based on our religious views, and we can go after them and literally, get more action taken.
I mean, can't we say that anyway? Can't we say that already?
Not really. Not that they're going to acknowledge.
No.
How does your religion get acknowledged? Is that what you wanted to have, Bob? Is that what you're talking about? Is like a bureaucratic process with the government?
More or less, yeah. I mean, I'm really not interested in the theological side. I mean, I am, but I'm not. But I'm looking for a mechanism that affords us a lot more protection from this discrimination and this outright slander and malignment and just general attacks, because it's kind of like gay people. It's like,
but does a religion really help you get away from that? I mean, basically what you're saying there is that, okay, Catholicism is a religion, therefore Catholicism is not open to being talked down about or whatever. But you can go on YouTube and find millions of videos attacking Catholicism. It doesn't matter that it's a religion. So to me, it's not going to protect you from anything. If people want to attack your religion, it happens every day, all over the earth, everywhere. That's just what
true.
they do. So I think to me, Jeranism.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jaron.
Yeah, just finishing. My YouTube channel was named Jeranism from the very beginning as a kind of play on words to say, well, my religion is my name with an ism at the end of it. And it's what I believe, it's my personal beliefs, and I'm not beholden to any outside influence or any religion. I believe even Iru's channel, the MPT Red Pill even says on there that he's not beholden to anybody. It's not a religion. It's not a belief system. It's simply what his investigations have led him to believe. So for me,
yes,
I've been talking about forever, don't believe in man. Don't trust man, because anytime you put man in charge of anything, they're going to corrupt whatever they're in charge of. It's just the way it works. And I'm saying that to all flat earthers too. If we named any one flat earther and said this one flat earther we should all follow or whatever, it's going to become corrupted. Why? Because man is at the helm of it. I don't care if it's the best human being that's ever been in existence. If you put that person at the top of it, you can always suck power from that person. You can always give, money can become involved. There's a lot of things that become involved. But when I made Jeranism, it was like, this is me. This is my beliefs. So yeah, would I be interested in creating my own religion? I mean, it's funny to think about, but I've already have. Right? And in a way, this is my belief. My channel is all filled with my beliefs, and I certainly don't want anybody else following my religion. Why? That's the point. That's why it's called Jeranism. Is it's not for you. It's not, my beliefs are not for you to follow along.
One thing that really rings a bell with this is quite interesting. There's these people called the Deneta people, indigenous people in the Canada and States make the kind of, they're in that border kind of area that the border actually messed up a lot of people. But what they say about religion when you go there, because there's been anthropologists try to go there and see, what is their religion and how they deal with spirituality and whatever they do. And they don't tell you about it, which is very similar to what you're saying, Jaron. They're like, it's your problem. They say they say you have to become an experienced dreamer, because they believe in the dream world. They go into the dream world and then you get your own insight. But the important thing is you get your own insight and it's yours. It's not for you to go around telling people what it is. It's a personal journey with the creator through this connection with dreams for them. Not saying for you, but it's quite very similar to the stance you take, which is, it's my thing and you should have your own.
Right. Well, I think about religion is the reason I hate it is really twofold. But in one way, you have a systematic. Sorry, that's a bad way to say it. A system of beliefs or a grouping of beliefs, right? And to be part of that religion, you have to be beholden to all those beliefs. But then, on the other hand, I hate religion is you've got religions that follow some sort of holy text that is simply words, and anything can be said about those words. Anybody can come across, any pastor can take any group of wordings in the Bible or in any kind of holy document and turn them whatever way they want. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Don't trust in man. There's always a man in a pulpit telling you what the holy texts say. And so I'm a big fan. If people want to believe in the Bible, like, Rob Skiba, anybody like that, that's great, but take it for yourself. And that's what Rob does, right? Rob says, okay, well, I'm going to study this. I'm going to look at its history. I'm going to believe in this. And it's his belief. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But as a religion, when you're talking about, okay, now somebody's at the top, we've got the Pope, or we've got, this guy that's at the top of the, the church or whatever, then I have a problem with it. Then I have a big problem with, well, we have to all conform to what this guy says. I mean, that's what Catholics believe. Catholics believe if the Pope came down tomorrow and said, oh, well, now we believe this, that you all have to follow in line and say, okay, I believe that. There's a lot of Catholics out there like that, but there's also a lot of Catholics out there that kind of have made their own religion. That makes a little bit more sense to me. That's kind of what jeranism is my own beliefs.
Exactly. So couldn't we, I mean, if you were going to do that,
right,
couldn't it be like something like an interpretation like that? For example, like when people are asked to join the Freemasons or something like this, they don't really particularly care what religion you have as long as you have one, right? That's one of the things that's behind it. So, it could be, and again, you're looking at the hierarchy of the quote-unquote church organization, and honestly, yeah, I get that. It's got to be there in one way or the other, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the hierarchy would be responsible for setting
anything. It could be totally symbolic, Bob. Maybe it could be totally symbolic. There's someone who steps in who gets us. I don't know. It could be worked out. You need a lawyer who knows about how to set these things up, and so that it comes out in a way that makes it horizontal.
I don't need a lawyer to say that jeranism is run by me. And that's the great thing about it.
Yeah, of course.
Rodrigo
that's what I'm saying.
Bobism, each of those. And I really think when you talk about religions and you talk about the First Amendment, don't we all have the right to our own beliefs already? This is where I'm confused. So. Is why? Why do you need to have any group of people get together?
All right. Here's why. Here's why, Jaron. Because look at it this way: what would happen if right now we on this show started bashing Judaism, or what would happen if we started bashing gays and lesbians, and what would happen? I think we all know what would happen, right? This is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. If you really squeal enough about it, you are then forcing your overlords to protect you and your point of view that is constitutionally guaranteed, but under a religious type of paradigm, or in case of LGBTQ, right? It's a sexual type of, but whatever. The point is that when you are one of these types of organizations, your words are heard, or they're acted upon more rapidly. Okay. Go ahead, Drew.
No, I want to, because I was quiet and listening and trying to make my opinion, and maybe and I'm going to try to put this in understandable words based on my English. But I mean, maybe you can create this religion type of flat earth community, but you never practice. I mean, you create in legal terms, but you're not going to have a place and expect that people go and do celebrations and things like that. You just create this like a trolling system, and I'm going to present everything. Okay, now we have this religion, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have to do the same things that a church does, or because there are two different things about here. I can create a religion based on the legal part, but never practice. Never, I can create like a facade, saying, okay, this is going to be the building, make 3, 4, I don't know which is the name in English for misa, but
Mass.
Yeah, you do, one of the week, 2 in the month, whatever, with friends, and you play this game for the authorities. But you just create that to have the impact, for example, in the social medias, in the social networks,
it's kind of like the football club, isn't it?
Yeah, but the football club is something real, because you really play football, and you really have the fans, and you really have the families involved in that. But here you can create all the legal parts, faking a little bit, playing these, things like, okay, the Father Bob is going to give the lecture of today. You play that game a few times, but you have the results you want. You have the results you want without putting in the real context. Waiting for the people go and say, "Oh, we love you, Bob. We are the Father."
I know. And let me say something for the record, guys, because
it'll be taken
from
the wrong
past
way, of
experience,
course. Right? We've seen this happen before,
right?
Jeez.
Because
Ronnie and Jason will do a whole 6-hour stream about it. That now Bob is satanic and is trying to start a satanic religion now.
I know. And don't forget the Chris and Sherry Geo show, Jaron, right?
Yeah.
What happened on that?
Classic.
All right, so let me make this perfectly clear, guys.
Listen up, folks.
I'm not talking about me going out and starting this. I am not necessarily even advocating for it. I am exploring the possibility only under the idea that it might afford flat earthers some more protection. If it's a bad idea, then it's a bad idea. I am not advocating for it. I am simply discussing it. And if you guys can't handle it, well, then it's time for you to get the hell out of the chat. That's all I can say.
No, completely agree, man. The same thing was happened with, hey, we can create a soccer team to troll the system.
Right.
And, a few months later, we have it. Of course, it's not the same thing, but I understand completely the reason that you want to, propose this idea. And that is why I say, first of all, it's not going to be easy. I don't believe that, the institutions out there is going to allow you, so, okay, sing that paper, sing that other paper, you have your religion, congratulations. It's not going to be like something like that, because for creating the soccer team was a totally nightmare. So I can imagine, what will be to create like a religion thing in terms of the legal, in terms of you must be, I imagine that you must have a lot of requirement to do something like that. And I
have kind of an idea here, just thinking about it, and kind of thinking about what Jaron was saying, because we do already have all these rights in place, right? So how do we bridge this?
One more thing before I forget. Maybe if you want to, your final result is to, have this protection in the social network, maybe it's better to create a political party than a religion, or try to find another shield to protect us, but not based on religion, maybe in other thing,
FE-Core is already is such a thing as well, like what you're suggesting right now. But what I was thinking to add to that is that, well, first of all, like it was just pointing out that when they started doing the football team, they got attacked. In the flat Earth, anybody who does anything gets attacked because most people are just sitting on their asses. Like, unfortunately, it just kind of seems to be like that. Anybody who gets up to do anything gets attacked. It's kind of something we've seen. But what about, like to bridge the two ideas, right? Okay, so there's this legal bureaucratic way of doing and maybe get this protection. Jaren is saying we already have this protection. Why do we need a building saying, it's kind of like a Masonic lodge. They have a lodge, you're going to have, a dome and a flat earth thing, maybe a temple or something like that. I don't know, right? We have an architectural presence. But what I was thinking was that because, okay, say that a lot of people in the world feel it is their religion, and that this religion has no particular ritual that you need to follow. But it is a religion. It's a feeling of connection with the Creator, and that they know it's flat. And that's central to it. If these people can sign, if you get 1 million people to sign something, saying, I follow this thing, it's a huge statement that, I don't know if something you can present, ideally you'd be going at the UN, like that, they can do their religion thing with that Greta girl in the UN anytime they want. They can do their eco fascism religion, whatever. They can do that. That's okay. But imagine if we could, but we can if we get enough people to sign, if you get a text, a manifesto or something that everyone can sign, everyone can agree. It doesn't bring in a bunch of other details that people don't agree with, and everybody says this is it's a religious position what I'm doing here, then maybe you have something that could work.
It just seems to me that it should always be about your personal beliefs, right? And the great thing about your beliefs is that they should be able to change at any time. At any moment.
Agree.
So I would never sign anything saying I believe anything. I mean, even if you're talking about, Jaren, do you believe in the flat Earth? Well, yeah, today I do. Today I believe that the Earth is flat. Will I believe that tomorrow? The great thing about Jeranism is that I can change that on a whim, right? I feel like I already have a religion, and the great thing about that is to tell people do not follow it. Why? Because it's mine. The great thing about my religion is you can take from it what you like and you can leave what you don't, and I don't see that in any other religion. All the other religions are, this is our beliefs, these are our standpoints, this is our dogma, you have to follow it, and that goes for science and scientism and Catholicism and Judaism. It goes for all those, that you have to fall in line with what they say. So when I hear religion, and it may be completely different than what Bob is kind of talking about, or the kind of over umbrella idea, I don't think that we need a flat earth religion, because as soon as you say that, then people are signing on and they're saying, I believe this and I will believe this tomorrow and I will believe this the day after. Whereas I don't have that opinion. My opinion is, the great thing about Jeranism is I can say tomorrow anything I want. My beliefs can change today. They can change during this conversation. That's the great thing about it.
I agree with that, Jaren. And honestly, you can also do that with any religion. I mean, I know a lot of Christians that have converted to Judaism or have gone to become Muslims and stuff like that. And yes, agreed. I could not agree more with what you're saying. Like I said, the only context I'm really even looking at this in, and the only reason I'm even interested in it at all, is for the enhanced First Amendment protections that it would afford flat earthers. I mean, so as far as actually,
let's stop
having,
right there, though, because
Reverend Jaren or Pastor Iru.
Let's stop there, though, because I want to find out. So, what about being a religion affords you more First Amendment rights than not? Because maybe I'm confused in the fact that
Let's put it this way. If we were to insult people's Jewish faith right now, right? I mean, that's something that is a hot button and is acted upon quickly. If we were to influence
because it's considered hate speech.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's considered hate speech. Same thing with LGBTQ, right?
Correct.
And whether you agree with it or not, it's a hot button, right? It's a hot topic, and people are, people are saying to these corporations, "Hey, look, if you don't support this, we're going to boycott you.
Right.
Politically, we're going to take actions." This is what I'm looking at. I could give a flip about, Pastor Iru or Reverend Jaren or Father Bob.
I got you on that, but I think
that's not
the thing is that
when it comes to religion,
religions and all this movement belong to the system. So I don't believe that you're gonna have the effects very soon. I mean, you are presenting. The system knows what you are trying to do. So how much time you expect that the politics in YouTube change about the flat Earth? It's not going to happen very quickly. That is my opinion. Of course, I don't want to explode the balloon. But I mean, also, the Jewish thing, the LGTB thing, all that kind of things are very quickly and very fast because they have politicians inside of the courts of all these referendums and things like that to push this, and you are the owners of all that kind of thing. That is why they promote and very quickly, very fast all this censorship. I don't think maybe it's going to happen the same thing in terms of the flat Earth, and the most maybe something that make me something a bad feeling is that the flat Earth has already involved with religion. So created a religion plus another religion is like a religion to a square, and it's gonna be a little, maybe collateral damage or something like that. Of course, that is my opinion. Right.
Can I add something here? In one thing that Bob is suggesting that they do with this idea of religion is already happening in a way, at least I see in Brazil, because so many people are religious who are flat earthers, and they talk about religion so much that there's I guess a movement against being realizing that this is sort of religious in a way or another. A big parcel of it is, which is, as Ito was pointing out, it's actually a problem. And I think Jaren's argument it's very compelling. It's the problem using that word religion for me as well. I was trying to make the best I could out of it. People trying to state is their personal thing and that they don't need any authority. But why would you do that? But on the other hand, why would you need the religion there? Because Ito and Bob have been talking about some of the similar things. Why Ito would go on TV and prepare in a big way for a debate. He wants to have a public statement that makes a difference. He wants to have a public statement from within the university, for instance, he mentioned, where you get, that kind of authority, which is the scientific kind of side of things, which is what Bob usually focuses on, what Bob's work has been on, and everybody's here, right? None of you have ever pushed any sort of religious line, on the contrary. So then, how do you bring that in here? And, the way I was just mentioning it in the case of the Denetà people is that, religion is something that happens, it's a connect, in Latin, it's just reconnection, a connection with something we're already connected to. Right? Why do you need to reconnect to it? This is one of the questions. If you're already connected, why do you need to reconnect? Why do you need a religion?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that tons of people have super weird beliefs, right? But I think that we're able to police ourselves, and this is maybe where I'm different than others or whatever, because I have this belief that people should be able to police themselves. If I want to say why I disagree with space, I'm allowed to. That's okay. I'm not hurting anybody. If I want to say why I disagree with Catholicism, I'm allowed to. That's what's great. Now, I understand that in a society you have to have certain rules about hate speech, right? I can't go on and say, I hate these people, or I think that people should get together and go against these people, or anything like that. That if I do that, then I am passing the line of what's acceptable in society. But if people want to say they disagree with flat Earth, they should be able to say that. So that's why I'm not out there saying, and there's been people before that have gone after certain channels for saying things or gone after certain people. I'm just not like that, because I feel like I'm able to say why I disagree with certain people, why I disagree with different tenets, why I disagree with different opinions. I'm able to say that, and I keep it away from any hate speech. And if they do the same, I believe they're completely welcome to do that. Now, the problem is a lot of times they do get it a little bit into hate speech, but I can't go around. A little bit? Well, what I'm saying is I can't go in to police that. How am I going to police that?
That's part of the idea here. That's why I'm, that's why I brought this up even as a possibility.
I don't want somebody else to police it either. I want people to police themselves. Now, again,
there's one thing that gets lost in all these discussions. I mean, not in what you're saying, is that which, when it comes to humor, it's too bad that we don't have Owen with us. but that the intention, and how do you define what is hate speech and what is a character? What's your intention? Are you taking the piss? Are you making another point? Are you, is there a metaphor for something else? With art, it gets really complicated, but you can see when it's really hate speech, which is somebody, constantly calling for hurting someone.
Right.
Exactly. Or what if people were to go and say to other people, any other group, and I mean any other group other than flat earthers, don't breed. You should all kill yourself. You should be sterilized.
Absolutely.
You people are the scum of the earth. Your families should all die. I mean, what I'm talking about here. This goes far beyond any sort of, quote unquote criticism. This is outright belligerent attack.
So you'd have to show me a video where someone specifically says that flat earthers should all die and they should. Now, I totally agree.
I have those comments.
The comments. No. Hold on. I'm not talking about comments. I'm not talking about comments because comments are the scum of YouTube, right? And if anybody reads comments, well, I feel bad for you. I know Bob approves them all. I just don't do it anymore because I would literally want to take a razor to my arm if I read it. Enough, because that's all people say is that I should do all these things, but it shouldn't affect me. Now, if somebody makes a video where they're calling for that or saying that I should not reproduce or I should be gassed or anything like that, well, then I do have a problem with that. That goes too far, and we should be able. When I say police ourselves, I mean you would hope that people aren't saying things like that, and I don't think that they really are. But again, there's a lot of channels out there with 500 subscribers that I would never see that probably are saying things like that. I would like to think that eventually that would catch up to him. Why hasn't that caught up to me? Because I've never said anything like that. I've never said things like that about globe believers. I've never said that they shouldn't reproduce or that they... Because if I did, then we are getting to what I would call hate speech. And I totally agree with what Rodrigo's saying. That's a touchy line of what you consider that. But I do think when you're talking about killing people, eliminating people, they shouldn't reproduce, then you are getting into what I would consider hate speech. And I don't know if that's correct in a public forum or on a website like YouTube. Now, granted,
it's wrong. It's against their policies.
Absolutely, it's against their policies. And so when you're talking about what is allowed in real life, it's completely different because if you say some of those things in real life, you're going to get hit in the face. It's the way it goes, right? But
exactly.
You can comment. You can say anything in comments, and guess what? You're not going to get hit in the face. It's just it's not going to happen. And YouTube seems to allow that. Why they allow that? Well, because I think when you talk about 500 hours of content uploaded every minute, then you multiply the comments by that, it's literally impossible.
Impossible, yeah.
It's impossible. So we shouldn't... we got a few super chats I didn't mention here so far. We've got domesticated primate. I hope you don't believe that, but anyway. He says, hi all, just started a GoFundMe to go to the ISS. We got Dan the Waterman saying, Jaron, you rock. Hey, what's up, Dan? Dan is awesome. Speaking of the little piece by the group we talked about earlier. Great conversation. Thanks, Ola, Iru, Rodrigo. Hi, Bob. Hi, Jaron. That's from the Cynical Skeptic, who also says, what about the CERN weird rituals in their opening ceremony? Oh yeah, that's just nonsense. That's just terrible. I can't believe that stuff is. And again, we should have every right. They should have every right to perform those rituals if they want, and we have every right to show them and tell people if this is what you want to follow, if this is what you consider scientific, if this is where you want your tax money going to, it's not for me. And I have every right to say that. And people can either say, I disagree with Jaron. I think CERN opening ceremonies and tunnel ceremonies is all really cool.
But
come on.
Take it easy, man.
No, seriously, like, if people don't know what Jaron's talking about, because for a while I heard about it, I saw a little bit of it, and I was like, okay, it's kind of sketchy. Then one day I decided to watch it. And it was like not in a Flat Earth channel, the person, and the comments, a lot of people were just shocked because it was like human sacrifice and all kinds of stuff being enacted. It gets worse and worse as you go through. It's unbelievable that that's associated with something scientific. It's just really grotesque.
But we need to take it easy because we live in a world,
In the what? Sorry.
What?
Laico. How you pronounce that?
Local.
LIGO?
Oh wait.
Laico.
Sorry.
Laico, like in a world, that's not religious, secular. Sorry.
A secular world, yeah. Supposedly, in all institution and all the open school and things like that.
Yeah, right.
Here, in terms of educational system, supposedly you have a right to have a free educational system unbiased,
Jesus.
non-secular, things like that. And all the time in the world, there are rituals after rituals after rituals. But the mainstream tell you that we live in this non-secular world. So
of course. And that there's no religions in schools and everything like that, except for when you find out.
Every class is a ritual. Every class.
Of course. The heliocentric model is presented there. So
absolutely. Yeah.
There you have
as scientific
non-secular world.
Yeah, real non-secular. When again, none of these children will ever experience anything that they're being taught, and it's just part of controlling their mind. And they do that better than anybody, and it's very easy. I mean, think you could really, literally have a child believe in anything. So if you're, just think you have a baby and it's just you and your wife, you could raise that child to believe anything in the world, anything, that the pencil sitting on my desk here is their God. You could easily convince a child of that. So once you understand that, then you realize how easy it is for them to put any belief into books that they want and have children coming out of 3rd, 4th, 5th grade believing anything that they want. It's that simple. So when you look at the things that are being taught to these children, then you have to go and follow up and say, well, where's the scientific evidence? Where's the proof that these things are actually true? And that's why we're all flat earthers, because we went looking down that direction and found out, wait a second, this is just a series of men's worldviews. This is just a series of beliefs by these
a religion. It's a religion, presenting itself as scientific.
Absolutely.
Is what it is.
Which is even worse than a religion, right?
Exactly.
The worst kind.
The one I think one of the deepest rabbit holes on the whole discussion when it comes to that, how they do that, and like agreeing with everything that you said, is something that hasn't been done, which is deconstructing exactly how these textbooks are put together. Exactly, paragraph by paragraph. Where is it coming from? How did they make the selection? Where's the other paradigm? Where's the alternative that they're not talking about? And why is it that they're presenting it this way? This is one of the things. Some people study this, but it's something that needs to be done to explain, because to people who are undergoing the system itself, how is it that they got to believe what they believe? Because this is one of the things that we forget early on. We get into the routine, the repetition catches on. When you're a child, you ask why, then you stop asking, you realize it's an uncomfortable question. People cannot answer many of your whys. And eventually you learn to just play along, and you forget how you incorporated many of the concepts, many of the ideas. This is what I feel. This is why
they'll never
going
think
back into this.
They'll never think.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying they'll never teach you, real thinking. They just teach you 1 + 1 = 2. If you ask why, they'll show you, well, here's one apple, here's another apple, that equals 2. Then down the road, they incorporate, well, here's some more mathematics, like Einstein's equations mean space-time bends. And at some point, you don't have the ability anymore to ask, if you ask that question, well, why? How does that make sense? How does Einstein's equations mean space-time bends? They'll go back and tell you, because it's math, idiot. 1 + 1 = 2.
Let's not forget about the 3 men in the hotel either, right?
Right, exactly.
So anyway, guys, let me just say this, and we'll wrap this topic up. But whether you guys think this is a good idea or not, and I'm talking about not only the panel but the guys out in the chat, the people that will hear this out. I am not advocating for this. I'm simply saying, what about this as a possibility? And I am interested, guys, in hearing what people have to say. And if not forming it into some sort of a constitutionally protected religious type of thing, what other things, could we suggest? I think it's something that, it deserves at least a dialogue. And it may be a bad idea, and I'm fully open to that idea that it is a bad idea. But all I'm doing, and I want people to understand this, is, I am a flat earther. I care about this community, and I'm looking for a mechanism that will help, make things better and kind of, alleviate this insulting, demeaning opinion and treatment that we go through. And that's just something that when it was brought up, I thought, well, that may have some merit to it. So, like I said, whether you think I believe in it or not, I'm not advocating one way or the other, but I think it's something that definitely deserves some discussion. And I'm certainly open to seeing, comments about it. But what I don't want to see, guys, is, what we've seen so many times before, Bob wants to be, the Pope of flat Earth, or, some ridiculous shit like that. I don't want to hear that. I'm looking for an honest dialogue on this. And if you're too immature to deal with that, then just don't comment at all. That's, would be my advice. And with that,
I think it makes perfect sense for you to be saying this, Bob, because you and Jaron and some other people have been targeted so many times with such malicious propaganda that, of course, you're going to be looking into every possible way. So I don't think anybody should blame you for
I expect it from the trolls, but
right. But then they really, we should basically disregard people who are going to make that kind of point.
But if flat earthers don't understand that Jaron and I mean, we haven't been doing this for nearly 5 years for our health. You know what I mean? No. We truly care about this. None of us have been, we truly care about this. And I'm always, trying to come up with a better way to get our message out, to make things better overall. And that's all I want people to really understand about that. And if you don't know that about me, then boy, have you missed the boat.
And I just stand behind the First Amendment big time and say that should be my religious protection, is that I'm allowed to have free speech. And I understand about you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, and I understand about hate speech. I do live in a society. I understand that I'm not alone here and that there's other people and that their feelings do matter. But I think that we can all, police ourselves. Real quick, I'll just show you something funny. I was watching, you ever heard of the show The Goldbergs? I don't know. The other day, I have. The other day it was on TV, and I saw this scene and thought it was hilarious. So let me show people this, just because I don't know. Maybe people won't have as good as a laugh as I did, but I thought it was hilarious.
I can explain it. I can explain it with science. Oh, science! Oh, what was math busy? I'm gonna go wash your beakers. My dad. Murray.
Sorry, just thought that was funny. Are you gonna prove it was science? What was math busy?
Math busy.
It's funny stuff. That's how I feel about science anyway. It's just too funny. But no, I totally understand why Bob brings it up. I totally think it's a good conversation. For me, I simply don't think it's needed. But what is needed is for people to police themselves. And by that, I mean everyone, not just flat earthers. I mean, the people attacking us need to recognize what is allowed, what is good in the society, what isn't, what should be accepted behavior, what shouldn't be. And I think everybody has a right to question everything. So if I make videos about flat earth, you know what? Those guys have every right to come on and say this is why they disagree. Now, if people want to watch those videos and believe that, that's fine. But the same is true the opposite way. I have every right to say why I believe what I believe. And if people want to take the good from what I'm saying, and again, anybody who believes everything I've ever said is out of their freaking mind, period. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Why would you believe everything that somebody says? You should research things. You should find some things where I think Jaron's a little off on this point. I think he makes sense here. I think his research is good here. I think it's a little bit flawed in this direction. That's a better society to be in, where people are all like that, because that's how I take every video I watch. When I watch some of these videos, I think some things are good. A lot of things I agree with. Some things I disagree with. And I think that's where we should all be, and then allow people to make their own decisions and allow people to come to their own conclusions. And what does religion do? Religion restricts that. Religion tries to corral people into certain groups, into certain hierarchies, into certain beliefs, and I think that's the absolute wrong direction to go. Does that mean that there's not some good that could come out of that, or some protection maybe that I'm not thinking about that could come out of me actually being part of a religion? That's possible. Certainly possible. I just don't see that. I don't know. Again, I ask the same question, is I'm not sure if people in religions are any more protected than people who aren't when it comes to the First Amendment. I could be wrong there.
Well, you know the old saying, right, Jaron, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
Right.
And let's face it, there are certain religious groups that have their advocacies, and those advocacies do a lot of squeaking, right, and it definitely changes the political face of society.
True.
It just does. Right? So,
no, it does. And those people are allowed certain things. You're right. Those people are allowed a little bit further protections than we are, but I look down on them for that. So I don't want to be part
I do too, to be honest with you, but
so then don't
this is an extreme case.
Right.
Think about Scientology, for instance. I mean, they've been abusing the world for so long, and they get away with it. Nobody's talking about it. They're letting them roam free.
Oh, and they make so much money. They make so much money.
The Jesuits go even way back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is richer than anybody, any country, by far. It's not even close.
Did you know that there's like a bunch of, I don't know if you follow the work of what's his name? the Canadian ex-priest who got excommunicated from the United Church, I think, that exposed crimes from the Queen against Indigenous people. I remember he has a tribunal, Bob, that you're sharing from. It's his project. You remember the tribunal, that the witnesses that we were looking at?
Yeah.
That the guy was saying that NASA is not a space agency.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
And if you look at some of the other videos there, there's this ninth circle is the Jesuits, and they do some of the sacrifices that they do. They were caught. The activists are able to stop them in their tracks in the middle of a sacrifice in near the Vatican, in a Jesuit priest. They saved a couple of children. And apparently there's big problems in the church right now. The current pope, who's a massive Jesuit, is going to be actually, it's getting kicked out or something. It's expected that he's going to be transitioned in February, and they're going to come up with some sort of story, because there's
who's saying
a lot going on.
Where are you hearing that?
These guys are saying this. That the people from that tribunal. Now I forgot the name of the guy, but I'll remember his name. He's one of the most important people. He's one of the people behind that.
Interesting.
Find out.
Damn it! I said that word. Sorry, didn't mean interesting.
Don't.
I meant uninteresting. Yeah. So, Iru, did you have something that you wanted to share today? I don't know. It looks like Owen may not join us, just so we're not waiting specifically for that. I know we also wanted to talk about the game, the synchronicity game, but you said you might have some stuff to share, or did you want to save that, or what do you got going?
No, well, I don't know how much time left for the show running, but I only have like a half an hour. So maybe, if you want, we can talk about the game and leave the other topic for the next show.
Sure, that works good. Yep. So yeah, if people don't know what we're talking about, and maybe people will.
Let me just. I'm going to paste in the comment section, in the chat section, some videos, so you can, because it's in English, so there is just a 2-minute video, and you can leave in the background if you want.
Wait, what? Or why don't you just share your screen on it? Oh, okay, wait.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. You're right, man. I mean, no. Well, I am a little ashamed, because
Let me.
Oh, we lost.
I received so many hate speech about sharing screen.
Damn hate speech is everywhere.
I'm gonna create my own religion that's share screen religion.
So guys,
like
you already have one. It's called Iruism. Told you that.
Iruism.
Yeah,
no, here in Europe we pay. It already is a religion. We pay with Irus.
Yeah, euros.
Yeah,
Euros.
Does he get any taxation from that, though? Is the question. He should be getting sales tax.
Just to for the record here, I just posted on the chat here the video. The name of the guy is Kevin Arnett. Okay, so take a look, and I posted the video. You can send it to the chat and out with the chat right now. So the video is called Kevin Arnett Vatican Breaking Down, and it's he's talking, but you will also find similar discussions from Kevin Arnett recently. This is actually, his name is saying Annette, and I think it is Arnett, not. But
okay, I posted it in the chat for people, so there you have that.
And here, his website's called Murder by Decree. I'm going to put another one here that you see, and you can see what is it, the activism that they're doing against the church to stop child abuse, especially. So that's what they're doing. They're focusing on this because they uncovered lots of their crimes.
Okay, I dropped both those in the chat. There we go.
So the first one is misspelling his name, unfortunately, but it's a very good interview as well because he goes into some of the details of what's going on. I really recommend it. Highly recommended.
Okay. Yeah, so I put both those links in the YouTube chat, so if people want to find those, let me see, is there any other super chats I need to cover? Nope. Okay, so, and Ira, you want me to share the screen now? You already ready?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Okay, hold on. Don't get upset at me.
No, but man, this is a hate speech.
Really, Jaron, you got to cut down your hatred, dude. I mean, geez, what are we going to do with you?
It's constant.
You are so aggressive, man.
Don't stop.
So evil. I'm actually racist against Argentinians. It's the only.
Could be.
I know. Mark Sargent hates Eskimos. So,
Yeah, ask any Brazilian football soccer fan what they think of Argentina and Maradona, and they're gonna. Actually,
Well, we have,
like
and I comment that off the screen, but we have the Maradona church, and it's like an official thing, and you have you have this Vice documentary talking about how they
the hand of God when he made the score with the hand of God.
Yeah, and you have the church, and you have all the same parody about a church, but based on the figure of Maradona. And they have these ceremonies, and but it's a real thing.
So are they any more protected than we are? I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. Are they protected now?
As a joke, but became true, and this is still going, still running. In fact, for example, you have, instead of have the head of Jesus or the head of the sun with the crown with all these spikes, you have the football with the spike and the blood. I mean,
what the hell?
It's like it's like a mockery thing, but it's become real.
Tom Hanks in the movie The Castaway was a member of that religion, I believe.
Yeah, with Wilson.
But you have here in English, because it's in English, so you have something that the most danger part to become a religion institution. I mean, the things could get out of your hands, very quickly, when you are leading with the fanatism and religion things and that kind of ideas. Mm-hmm. But
gets a little bit scary what is possible, and
yeah.
And again, should people have a right to laugh at that and to make jokes of it and to say it's ridiculous? Yeah, they should have every right to do that, and they have every right to believe that what we're saying is ridiculous. What are you gonna do?
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Grow some thicker skin, maybe.
What they cannot do is lie about you. That's what we found out. We cannot just lie about someone and damage their reputation for being mean. And you get, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, and the person needs to be able to prove that what you're saying is a lie. And there's a lot of people out there that have, asked questions why certain individuals out there do not come back when we say certain things are true or certain things aren't true. And the reason why is because they wouldn't be able to prove it in court, just like the whole case with Zen Garcia, right?
Absolutely.
He went to court and they weren't able to prove that the earth was round, and therefore the case was basically dismissed. So that's just what happens. What are you going to do? So I don't know about that religion of, what is it again? Maradona?
Maradona is like the biggest soccer player in the whole history of the soccer itself.
What? It's not
Argentina.
That is the problem, because the Brazilian has another guy which
Pelé. I thought it was Pelé.
Pelé.
Everybody knows Pelé. Everybody knows Pelé. Vito, come on.
No, you need to understand. First of all, we are talking with United States people who doesn't understand nothing about soccer. So don't put these guys to give
on the spot,
his opinion on the spot.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are talking
it's like us
guys
talking
that
about.
play
I understand so much.
American
it's
football.
Like,
I understand.
It's like if Jaron talks about baseball, we're not going to be able to follow.
Exactly. United States is the only country that they call themselves World Championship, but they play only when themselves. I mean, that is the kind of mentality that run NASA and all these organizations. I mean, we are the champion of the world in football and American football. Of course, man, you are the only country that play that. I mean, but
it's not true.
whatever.
The World Series in baseball also includes Canada. Okay.
Yeah, now. A few years
I
ago.
probably would include Cubans and Japanese because they like baseball as well.
No, we'll just go. We'll just go
what
play
other
over
contenders
there.
are there for the Monday night TFR slot between 7 and 9?
That's rude. That is rude. That's why we're the #1 show on TFR.
That's right.
That's
certainly
right.
is there's certainly no lie there. That is all truth. That is all truth. But,
okay, I'm going to play. We're going to talk about the synchronicity game. Don't expect, some of the solution to your life.
No.
But I mean, It's
fact,
a nice
I'll
game.
I'll tell people right now, if they want to tune out, if they're happy with the content so far, go ahead and tune out, because what we're talking about now is just a game. It's a game that Iru and I and Linda and Missa played in Vegas, and I thought it was awesome. We had so much fun, and there were so many things that happened. Iru, do you remember when the beanbag hit my dog, and then you yelled at the guy across, and you found out he was from Argentina? Remember that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that. That was well. That is the magic part behind this kind of game, is to develop your intuition, and your
synchronicity,
awareness to detect the signs that is surround you and present to you in the life. Of course, this has to be. You need to be not just an open mind guy. This is in the round. It's not the same thing, but it's in the round of all these practices that you made in the metaphysics exercise. When you're trying to materialize things that you are thinking and feeling, and it's it's in the same path of take out of your body. It's that kind of stuff.
It's
a game,
pseudoscience,
but with that kind of rules. It's pseudoscience,
Right.
if you want to say in that way. It's
Right.
pseudoscience, but it's full emotional and consciousness. Because after all, science can explain consciousness. Okay, they cannot prove, they cannot detect it, they cannot show us, but supposedly Elon Musk is going to transfer your consciousness to another device.
Well, I can't wait.
That's
Oh,
yeah, no, that is so ridiculous. So I'm gonna play this video. It's about just 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It's in English, so it's gonna be better explained than me, at least at the beginning, and then after this we can just talk about our own experience, if you want. Okay,
sounds good.
Let's go.
Is there supposed to be sound? Because if there is, we're not hearing it.
No,
Okay.
it's not sound right now. It's going to start.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, this first part is not sound, but you need to read. And it's going to start with sound. I just play the video as it is. Okay.
Hold the intention that the universe has a number already for us, and that you're going to roll it, and then the universe will speak to us throughout the night based on that number, okay? Just set that intention and then roll it with all your love. Number 6. Okay, it's a powerful number, number 6. So I have a task for you, because I think there's a dual meaning here. There's one here for you, also for this chap back here. I'd like you to take the synchronicity money you guys gave me, and I'd like you to hand it to him, okay? Because this is a message for you and him. Go and talk to him for a few minutes, okay? Come on, be brave. Go and talk to him. Go on. Yes, all of it.
Well, I'm gonna start to explain a little bit, because this was a short video, and maybe you are not completely understood what happened. But the thing is like this: you invite friends, or just like in this case, random people, because the guy who create this game, he started alone, just starting in the park, that as a starting point, he go to the park and start to play with that, and of course people start to get close and ask what he's doing. So he start become like something like
a guru,
no, not guru. No, I want to say like he started like every Tuesday of the week he start to play this game at certain points. So he used the connections through the social network. So he started to make like a group, like a WhatsApp group, things like that, to say, okay, I'm gonna be tomorrow at in some place, and we're gonna start this synchronicity work. So all the people that you see here, for example, is all random people. They are not friends of the guy or something like that. Okay, so it's just regular people that know about this game and go and play with this guy. Of course, when, for example, this is another video where a lot of other people, like 20, 30 person walk behind the guy, and this is a 14-minute video, so he explained a little better and more in deep. But the thing is that you have a dice, and you can have 2 dice like we did.
Right. Where'd you go? Did we lose Zero?
Oh.
Don't hear him.
Okay. Well, I don't know what this dice that he's showing on the screen is, but we were able to do it with just 2 simple, 1 through 6 dice.
Right.
You back, Hero? No?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. No?
I think this is just a special dice that deals with... You remember how you had to assign different numbers to different things?
Right.
I think that's what it does. So that's the white rabbit on top, which is the person you have to follow kind of thing.
But you are still listening to me or not?
No,
yeah, now you're here.
You went away for a second.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, this is a special dice, but special dice. You can go and buy it in any store.
What, this dice you can?
What, a loaded dice?
Yes. No, well, not a loaded. It's like a 12 size,
20
size, 20 size, exactly, dice. Then this guy printed.
Oh, I got you. So it's a 20-sided dice.
Already
the
the rules. He print what we drop the dice to the side.
Okay.
But let me just explain. Okay, I'm gonna start fresh. Okay, because
let's start fresh.
The video was a crap and everything was a complete mess. Okay, so
we're starting all over. Here we go, folks.
Yeah, we're gonna start again. So you buy 2 dice, or you use 2 dice.
Correct.
1 to 6, regular stuff. Right. So you start deciding. You need to do this. You're gonna say, okay, let me just say right, left, straight. I don't know how to
forward.
Forward, exactly. Forward. There you go. Forward. White rabbit. Game, and another one which was, let me just read it in Spanish. Game and help, exact, or guide, whatever.
So
left, for example,
forward,
we are,
gotcha.
then you must be select like.
You want me to grab my dice?
Yeah. Group number.
Okay, I got it.
Group number and manifestation. So supposedly we are, 8 people right now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take my dice. I don't know. I decide that Jeran start to drop the dice.
Okay.
So before dropping the dice, you need to say what your dice is gonna be. Is going to point for reference for. For example, you're gonna say, okay, I'm going to drop the dice right now to the side, which is gonna be the number of going forward.
Okay.
So you drop the dice, and the number is 5. Okay, 5.
Okay.
Then goes Rodrigo, and Rodrigo say, I'm going to drop the dice to the side, the white rabbit thing. Okay. The follow white rabbit. Okay, it's gonna take 6. Okay, 6, and this is a 3, and this, Bob dropped the dice. Was 1. Blah blah blah.
And if we drop the dice, and if you did it twice, if for instance 3 came up again, you just roll again until you get a complete thing, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Because you're going to.
It's going to get harder and harder to get the numbers, right?
Right.
Yeah, but after all, it's very quickly. I mean, and that is why you can have dice with 12 numbers or 9 numbers, things like that, to have a more, freedom
thing,
in terms of choice. supposedly we have all the things here, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. For example, this was the number, okay, before start playing the game. This was the setup.
Correct.
Then you need to drop the dice for selecting the group number that in this video was the number 6. So that is why this guy referred that this, supposedly, just random guy cross over this really emotional moment, and in the T-shirt is the number 6. This is not a guy that was with the group. It's just a random guy that crossing the bridge. Okay, mm-hmm. So you need to drop the dice for a special number that defines the group. Of course, you must be only drop one dice, because if you drop two dice, standard dice, you're never gonna get, for example, the number 1, because you are not playing with the 0 number in those dice. That is why it's better to have like a one dice, like from the number 1 to 20 or whatever, just for have more opportunities. But it doesn't matter. You can play.
You can play very easily
dice.
with the 1 dice or with 2 dice. Yeah.
Exactly. So, for example, the number of the group was 8. Okay. 5. Whatever. And then, and this is the most important thing, you need to, between all the members in the group, you need to define what you want to manifestate. For example, if you say I wanted to manifestate like an elephant, you can say that because it doesn't imply that an elephant get in front of you in like a real animal. It could
but
be
you did
in
say
a picture.
Could be anything.
In Barcelona, you said the reptilian, and it did appear.
And appear,
right?
Yes, but in terms of a statue.
Correct. Yeah, it appeared. In many ways.
Could be anything.
In many ways. No, that was totally crazy. And and that game we played with the guru, with Alex from exactly, and he was really surprised because we played 3 times in less than 2 hours, and the 3 times the game was complete. Perfectly, and that was even I remember that one of the guys the second time that we played the game, he said red tacos, and we ended in the place called Red Tacos, so
wow.
I mean it was really it's really
remember
amazing
you saw
thing,
that NASA is a thing on the wall, the Jesuit facade. We stopped right in front of it.
You have all the videos, right?
I have the video. The people that ran into the middle of the street in Barcelona, super busy. Suddenly, people who were there for the conference, people hugging, crying, and stuff out of nowhere because with the number 7. Remember that one?
Yeah. So I going to.
And this is what
I gotta do that video because I still have all the footage, and I wanted to. This is probably something kicking me in the right direction to go back to that and tell this story there.
Right.
Oh, that will be nice, man.
And so people know that this is what we're telling people
ahead.
is that I just want to say this is what we're saying is that you need to do this for yourself. Get a group together, play this game, and you'll see some of these things come to fruition on your own. Because if I was hearing this for the first time, I'd be like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what you guys are even talking about. None of this makes any sense. But by the end of it,
completely, yeah.
Right, by the end of it, though, you want to go out and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get some friends. It's fun to go to a new place, especially if you're vacationing. You don't know what to do. Go to a public place and start to enjoy this. So far, we're at the place where we've got all the dice lined up now. We know that if we roll 1 dice, that each of those is going to correspond to a direction or a game. And then we've got a group number that we rolled. Our group number is 5. And then we've got something we're going to manifest. You can have anybody name anything. We can all talk about it together. Like you said, if we decide an elephant, or maybe you say an elephant on a globe, or whatever it is. You just want to put something down in manifestation. And so far, I haven't seen it happen. But it's when you do the game, it's going to end up in that area, and you're going to be impressed with that. So that's all we can say so far.
Yeah, and the thing, for example, I'm gonna just give like a real situation, like a real game. Okay. I'm going to show you a few pictures and video from the first time that I did this game here in Argentina.
Okay.
So I'm going to share that. And the manifestation that the group was trying to achieve was because we was talking about a few things, and so the words was sex and art. How is the name of feria?
Money?
Feria.
Like
is it for beast, like beastry, or is it?
No. It's fair.
Holiday.
I think.
Fair, like a fair.
Yeah, fair.
Like
So fair of art. I mean,
art
fair. Art fair. Like in the street.
Like,
something in the street, something like that.
Like a gallery kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So this was the manifestation that the group, invoke. Okay.
And somebody would have this written down on some piece of paper, just so you know.
Yeah, or in the cell phone, for example. This is a
phone,
screen capture of in the cell phone. Yeah.
There you go.
So because you must be have with you all the time.
Right.
So this is just the setup. After you set up the numbers, then you go outside to the street and use the street as a play field.
Right.
It's like your play field is the city itself.
Right.
So, for example, Geran is going to start to drop the dice, so the numbers I'll be ready set. So Geran drop the dice and take, 3, okay? Before doing that, Geran needs to say where is north, because based on where you point, where is north, it's going to be your left, your right, your forward.
Right,
okay?
or where is forward?
Exactly, where is forward? Correct. Yeah, but in the game, it's called north.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
All the time you say, okay, where is going to be north before dropping the dice? So let me just going. For example, at this moment in the video, maybe someone, for example, that girl need to start the synchronicity walk. So maybe she said, okay, that wall is north. So she dropped the dice. The number or the action is going to, present at itself.
Right.
So all the groups start walking based on that. So, for example, if the dice set number 5, you're going to follow the white rabbit. And the white rabbit could be whatever. Could be a person, an animal, a dog, a cat, a car, a train, whatever. You must be decided in terms of the group what you feel it is the white rabbit to follow. But you need to follow. I mean, if you select this person, for example, right now, well, and this person get into a subway station, you go in the subway station. And if that person take the train, you take the train too. That is the level of the game that you must be, trying to achieve. Of course, you cannot decide to go there for any reason, okay? But you're going to start to break a little bit the connection,
But you better try. You better try.
Is there there's a time limit to how long you follow the person for?
Right.
Exactly, because you drop, you drop the first dice is for the action that you need to take into consideration, and the second dice or the same dice that you can use the same dice, the second dice is for how long you're going to do that action. So you have from 1 minute to 6 minutes, and you can also split the time. You can ask to the dice to split the dice. For example, we're going to follow that person. You drop the second dice and it takes 6 minutes because you achieved the 6 number in the dice. Well, you can split and ask to the dice and say, okay, if this is going to be an odd number, we're going to split the time. If it's going to be an even number, we keep the 6 minutes.
Right. I think the way that we played in Vegas was that if the number was odd, then that would equal to no, and if it was even, it would equal to yes. So whenever we needed to ask ourselves something, let's say that we're not sure if the dice is sending us into a building or if it's sending us up the stairs, we get to a staircase and we're like, well, wait, were we supposed to go up the staircase? Because obviously, if you're just meant to go forward and for 4 minutes, that doesn't really tell you whether or not you're supposed to go up the staircase. So when you get to the staircase, you can ask the dice, are we supposed to go up the staircase? In which case you would roll. Any even number would be yes, any odd number would be no. That's kind of how we did it. So we also did the same thing with sometimes if we were told to follow the white rabbit for 6 minutes, then you can ask the dice, should we half that time? Again, roll, odd would be no, even would be yes, and you would half it down to 3. That's just the way we played.
Exactly, man. Right. Exactly. And in fact, you're going to have, and you witness yourself, you're going to have to start to get in this kind of a connection. For example, these guys drop the dice, said, follow the white rabbit. They feel that that person was the white rabbit, so all the groups start following him. And when this guy turned into the left corner, they start to found, for example, this billboard drop in the ground that says expand your consciousness.
Yeah.
So you need to, and you experience that.
Absolutely, yeah. We saw so much.
This game is the best thing that you can take this game is like this. Okay, we are in a new city, right, or in your own city. We are like 5-6 people inside my house. We don't know anything to do. So let's go outside to take just a fresh walk. And instead of going in the same places that supposedly that city all the time offer to you, use a dice to decide it. And use these rules. It just, you can take it as that, because all the times you're going to have people inside the group that they don't believe in any kind of synchronicity energy. So he can, at the beginning, he can start to avoid this connection with the, cosmos, if you want to see it that way. Right. But that is the idea behind the game. That is why we start at the beginning of the explanation. This is not a scientific game, okay? This is for the expansion of the consciousness and the connection with all that surround you. That is why you need to pay a lot of attention to the signs. It's not just walking and dropping the dice. No, you need to look all around. The time be looking at the letters, the billboards, the people, things like that. And even you're gonna have situation where you need to put in action your skills to interact with strange people.
Right.
Because if you drop a dice and said, for example, help or guide, you're going to select a person to talk with and ask. You need to some help from nothing. You don't know the guy. You're going to. Can you explain a little better?
Yeah, no, it's just if you don't even know the person, but if somebody rolls a 4 and it's a help or guide, you have to go up to somebody on the street or ask somebody a question or ask somebody to even roll the dice for you. That could be possible. You just go up to somebody that you don't know on the street. And what we're talking about too, and the reason that this is so cool is like when Iru and I and Linda and Missa went to Vegas, one of the things was Iru was kind of like, well, show me Vegas. And I said, okay, well, we only had like 8 hours there. And I was like, well, I can't really show you Las Vegas in 8 hours. And that's where this whole idea of the synchronicity game came from, or at least not the whole idea, but that's why we decided to play it, is we said, well, let's just do the synchronicity walk because we've got 8 hours. We'll just enjoy the day. We let the dice tell us where to go, and we let everything manifest in and of itself. So we did all kinds of stuff as far as the help goes, and then we need to explain what the game is as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you have game and complement. For example, a lot of time we drop the dice and set complement because then when you have 2 options or more, like you said before, Jaden, you can ask the dice. For example, okay, it's gonna be I drop the dice and go out number 2. Okay, we had to select between game or complement. So you can drop the dice again and say, okay, if it's gonna be even number, it's gonna be complement. If it's gonna be odd number, it's gonna be game. If it's gonna be complement, you need to select people. You need then to drop, for example, the time dice.
Right.
To know how many people is going to be involved in the complement. So, for example, you drop the dice and said 5. You're gonna pick 5 random people and say, "Hey, nice hat, nice jacket, nice eyes, whatever," and you're gonna start to, feel the reaction of that, and maybe someone start to talk to you and give you some kind of idea to do. So the group start to go into, create that idea, because after all, the games end when you achieve the manifestation.
Right.
So I'm gonna, transfer this to the real game. But if you want to give a better explanation about this.
No, I think it's great. And what people need to understand is there's no exact rules here. What we're talking about, it's very open for interpretation. Like Yuru said, if you had a 20-sided dice, it would be more direct. But in this case, we only have 2 6-sided dice, and one dice is to pick the direction, and then the second dice is to predict to pick the time. So it is a lot easier than we're making it sound, because if we rolled, let's say it's Iru, myself, Bob, and Rodrigo, and we are on the streets of Dallas. Let's say we went down to Dealey Plaza or whatever, and we're ready to play the game. So the very first thing we do is we have on a piece of paper or in our cell phones exactly this layout or whatever it comes out to. Maybe right is 3 in that world, whatever. And then we have the group number, we have the manifestation item, and then we're ready to go. So you would roll that first dice, and it would come up with a 5 for forward, let's say. And then remember, before you roll that first dice, somebody has to choose which direction is north. So let's say I say this direction is north. So we roll the dice, it comes out 5. That means we're going forward. We roll the second dice, it comes out 3. It means we're walking forward for 3 minutes. And you start walking forward, and you let the dice decide everything that you do. You may come across a building that's got some interesting title, and you're like, well, should we go into this building? Well, at that point, you can ask the dice. But basically, the dice decides everything. So at that point, do we go inside this building? We roll the dice. It says 3, which is an odd number. It means no. Okay, we keep going on our forward walk. And you just let the dice guide you through everything. And when we went to Vegas, it was just amazing is how many things we came across, how many casinos we went into, how many hotels we went into and ended up in the lobby. Remember that one time we followed somebody all the way down some hallway to their hotel room till they got into the elevator, and then we got in the elevator with them. So we're like,
things happen. Same thing happened here in the bus. Imagine like 20 people follow you. So the girl start to say what's going on, and this was the white rabbit. And you provoke all the time, like joy to other person.
Absolutely.
It's something like that. It's just for getting fun.
It's just for fun. And one of the games that
this reminds me a lot of how because for me I don't like tourism where you go to a place and you have to go here and there. I never buy packages or anything. For years,
me neither.
I've traveled by going to the place and deciding where I go next. I did this whole thing in Europe once by myself for a long time, just deciding where I was going to go next with no plan whatsoever. And I really like that. That's why I like this. And also I think this is interesting because it teaches you that, yes, there is this way of doing it, but you can come up with your own way of doing something similar.
Absolutely.
And in your own rules or whatever it is, and it may help you also, or it may be interesting. I don't know. At least, and one thing that exists already, which is very, very similar to this, and we can talk about it later because I know about it quite a lot, is the I Ching. The Chinese book of changes.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very similar. You play it, so you know how it is. It's quite similar to this, right?
With the pendulum. You use pendulum.
Not with the pendulum. For I Ching, you can use coins. With the coins.
Coins. With coins. Yeah, no, I never play with coins.
Yeah, coins basically decide one side is going to be 6, and the other one's going to be 2, and the other one's going to be 3, and then you throw them, and then you get your hexagrams, and if you can get the lines, the 6s and the 9s, and what happens if in the I Ching is it's based on 8 different combinations of these binary lines. They can be open or closed, and they represent aspects of nature. So it's fire, water, very basic elements, and they're representing these binary systems. It's almost like a computer language. It's very interesting. And then combining the 8 possibilities you get, you make 64, and they all have these deeper meanings. And you can ask anything to it, and there's no randomness because you're throwing the coins.
No, it's synchronicity. It's not
synchronicity, random. Totally. Yeah, intuition, synchronicity, just like this, very similar. And I actually, someone who's a friend of mine, who's a very good friend of mine, one of my best friends, who's Chinese Canadian, and he said no, because I was playing I Ching and it was a Chinese thing, right? And he said no, it's all random. And I proved to him. I said, dude, it's not random. When you throw the coins, you're throwing it. It depends on how you drop it. And he started using it, and he couldn't believe how the answers he got. At one point, he's like, okay, I give up. This is real. Like
exactly, yeah. You need to experience it, like Gerald said before. You need to play it. It's not only a way to understand completely. In fact, remember that you must have a stopwatch. Could be your cell phone itself. You can have your own stopwatch, because all the time you're going to, for every action that the first dice decide, you need to drop the second dice to decide how long it's gonna to do that action. So all the time you need one person in charge of the stopwatch. That could be your cell phone or actually a stopwatch.
Yeah, this is a group thing.
Yeah, it's a group thing. And all the guys need to be aware of the signs and start looking into the numbers.
We did it with 4 people, and we let each roll the dice go in order. So it went, Iru, then Linda, then Missa, then me, then back to Iru. Then each person got a chance to throw the dice. And one of the fun things of the dice roll is the one that's game. So whoever rolls that particular number,
was amazing.
That was that's the most fun, is whoever rolls that specific number, and I forgot what it is in our little game here, whatever game, what was game? Your other,
number 2 in
okay.
This case.
So if we rolled a 2 and it's game, then it would be, okay, we're going to play a game. For how long are we going to play? I would roll the second dice and it's 4. So now we know we're going to play a game for 4 minutes. But now it's up to me to choose what game we're going to play. So at first people are a little bit like, I don't know what to be. You just have to really open it up to whatever you want. We had some great games in Vegas. One of them was we have to walk in that direction for the 4 minutes, and we have to all point at the sky. So of course,
and say, hey, look at that, and the people surround us start looking into the sky.
Right, because you've got 4 people walking on the streets of Vegas, all pointing to the sky for 4 minutes long. So of course, people around us are like, "The hell's wrong with these people?" But you can.
Yeah, but no, the best one was walking backwards.
Oh God, that was
3 streets. I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was at least, I think it ended up being 5 minutes or something. And for us,
it's only crazy.
Whenever we got to 5 or 6, we would always ask the dice to cut the time in half, just because we thought that the time was too long. We didn't want to walk in one direction for 6 minutes. But every time we'd have a game, and then we'd roll the dice, and it was like 5 or 6, and we'd be like, okay, can we cut that time in half? We'd roll the dice, it would come up 3, which would mean no. So we'd be like, okay, well, now we've got to do a game for 6 minutes, and we would pick the game. Somebody said, well, we got to walk backwards. So just imagine you're on the streets, main street of Vegas there, and you see 4 people for some strange reason walking backwards and talking. And of course, it opens it up to a lot of people. A lot of people will come up to you and ask you what you're doing. We really wanted to do it in the streets of Amsterdam, and we just couldn't find dice anywhere. All we could find in Amsterdam was sexual dice that said, lick elbow.
Thinking now in the commodity of my house, we can put an action based on the figure for the sex dice,
Right.
So we lose that opportunity.
Damn it.
We lose that. Yeah, because you can transfer a number or a figure to an action.
True.
Yeah, you can.
And you can transfer the figure to a minute, So
do your code, right? You just code.
But the bad thing is how you cannot have, as a city, a regular dice.
Yeah, Amsterdam. Don't go there if you're looking for dice. Terrible place to go.
Exactly.
So the touristy area of Amsterdam is just so crazy with people, so many people.
It would have been awesome to play there. It really wouldn't have.
But we
pretty much none of us knew what we were
completed.
doing there, so we were just walking around, and we ended up at that. Where did we go to eat those pancakes in that upstairs restaurant room with the spiral staircase? Remember that? I mean,
super tight.
Yes.
Yeah, I could barely fit up it. But, things like that were kind of like a synchronicity walk, and we were just looking around like, should we go here? Let's go here. Let's just do it. So the dice...
we had to find our way in the mess somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, in this real case scenario, this was... the game that we play at the first time with, supposedly we need to manifestate the sex and this fairy art or art fairy. I don't know how to pronounce. Yeah. So, and the number of the group was 5. So, for example, the first thing that was really crazy is that when we get outside of the house that we, set up all the dice, and this was in another city, it's not even my own city, so we don't even pay attention where we're going at that moment. And of course, we don't even think in play this game, because this was something like... Yeah, so when we get outside of the house, all the street was based in number 5. So that is when you start saying, okay, we are in the right direction. Not only that this house was at the side of the main house, and it was an art house. And you can see here, for example, with all the pictures, and not just digital art, was made by hand. So we need to supposedly manifestate art and sex, but not just art. It must be fair art. So we are just going in the right direction. So we start walking in this town, and we start finding names like Magallanes, for example, because we was talking about the flat Earth and the circumnavigation, and
Right.
you know, you start to have these, you know, strange connections with the topic that you maybe are talking about.
If people miss that link there, either just to add to what you're saying, Fernão de Magalhães is the guy who supposedly went around the ball, and in Brazil, for instance, is the person who's celebrated for going around the ball. They just don't tell you that he took over 3 years to do it. So
Of course, and
But,
65,000 miles and everything.
Right.
Then we start. I mean, all the downtown that was really, you know, like a supposedly random downtown was filled up with art all the time. You know, this kind of drawing in the walls, and all this, you know, moon, sun, even this kind of all the time the number 5 was present there. Then, for example, this was, say, Art and Hope. That was the name of the house that where I show all the pictures behind the glass, you know, this place. So you start feeling that you are walking, you know, in the right way, because at least that was something that we feel. Then you have, for example, this art hanging on, you know, regular street, because this was just a regular street, but you're gonna start having all this art like if you was in the fair art, you know,
like an art fair
outside,
like open fair.
Exactly. You know, the piece, the symbol of the piece there, and this just all different places. It's not just the same house or the same street. No, we was walking like 2 or 3 street blocks and find all these signs. And then, for example, well, this was the group. For example, this girl, her name is Peace. So the dice take us to a monument that was a monument for the peace in Argentina, for example. You know, and I can't put in real words because my English is not so good for explaining this. But all the time you're gonna have this. For example, the monument, the Argentinian monument for the peace. You know, based
started
on the
showing up all the time.
Yes, exactly. All this kind of symbol that we was talking about, Antarctica, whatever. And the most funny thing was that at the end, you know, because we need to find sex and the art fair. So the numbers took us, you know, from a lot of, you know, tiny streets, things, really crazy things that I cannot explain very well, but let me just go ahead. You know, we start talking and walking in really strange street, very narrow street, something that, you know, like, for example, this one that you have like a super big stair at the end. And when we go up to that stairs, we ended in this church, right? In this church of the city, of this town. But the crazy thing that we start to talk, you know, we stopped there because the minutes were run off the time. So we stopped there to roll a new dice. And while we are here, a guy go out from the church and came direct to us and start talking about that inside the church they have raped children. So something that is connected with sex. but not in the way that you expect, because maybe you expect like seeing some kind of sex in terms
Imagery.
of imagery, something like that. But this guy was really crazy because
is he protesting against the church or?
Yeah, he protesting against the church, and it was this couple at the back. It was an old man, and the old man came from inside the church and looked at this guy, and this guy is the artist behind the Tesla head.
Oh, cool.
This is the artist. Look directly to his eyes and say, inside here, they rape childs. Something that
out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And at the end of the church, in that point, it was literally a fairy art. Fairy art.
And all I got to say to people watching,
art fair.
Right, an art fair selling, that's more of an art fair even. That's what an art fair would be. That's an actual art fair. Well, actually, because we were actually thinking it was like a gallery or something, a showing or exhibition. No, but the actual technical definition of art fair is when you have objects being sold on the street, just like that. That's what it is.
Exactly. So there was where it's finished the game. You know,
wow.
I mean, when we and a lot of things. This is the kind of in Argentina the art fair that you expect. You know, things that people sell in the street. So we finished the game there. Of course, a lot of things happen in between, but I am not the best guy to explain it. Right. But you need to play for yourself. And
lots of detail.
Really, a synchronicity work.
People need to play for themselves and don't knock it until you try it. Because again, if I was just listening to us talk about this, I'd be like, these guys are crazy.
It's hard to convey.
Maybe we are just a game.
Yeah, sure. But it's fun, and I recommend that you do it because you'll see a lot. And we probably in Vegas had too much of an open. I think we had a broken globe was our manifestation, but in Vegas those are all over the place. So
but you remember that thing that we don't go in to check when we stop to eat something to eat a sandwich, something breaks.
Oh,
in
that's
the background.
right. That was so weird. Yeah, absolutely. We were upstairs.
Something like a glass.
Yeah, we were upstairs,
and we don't go in to check it.
Right. And it just seemed like those things were, maybe it's too open for interpretation because there was, in Vegas, there's many broken globes everywhere. But as far as us being on that thing,
why are there broken globes in Vegas?
Well, just as imagery or whatever. There's always a hand coming out of a globe or something.
Right.
Yeah, it just seemed like we could find that everywhere. So next time if I win again, I would make even the manifestation slightly more specific. But that's just me. Next time I did it, I would do that. But yeah, people really need to try it for themselves, and basically. One more time just to make it really simple. You just have two dice. One dice you make for the actual action, and the other dice you make for the time. And that's it. And then you go with, I think could be played with two people, you think, Hiro?
Well, yeah,
you
can play with yourself if you want. But it's not going to be so, maybe. And the first time, it's better if you at least are 3-4 people.
3-4 people, right. Because when you do a game, it's more fun, and everybody agrees to play by the rules.
I think that one way to play for yourself, and sometimes, when I was a student in Vancouver, I have this good friend of mine, Lucas. Sometimes he just decided to go walking some direction with nothing. A lot of people don't ever get to do this. This is the thing. Do you ever go out and you have nowhere to go and you're just walking? Because that's very similar to this process. Right, but is even more without any sort of thing they have to throw. Is just kind of trying to feel where to go, and a lot of people have a place to go. That's why they're off in the street, right? That's one thing.
So many things happen throughout the day that would have never happened had you not played the game. Now that could be true if somebody says, "Oh, we would have walked this direction, a million things would have happened." Yeah, but it's the dice that let you decide it. And I always tell the story of when we were in Vegas, we ended up into some hotel. And then we kind of came out the backside of a hotel. I think we were following somebody, and they stopped to play. I don't know what the game is, but when you throw bean bags at a little, it's a beanbag toss. I don't know what it's called. People play it a lot now.
You kick it or no?
No, you throw it, and it tries to go into a hole. I'm not sure. Somebody in the chat will say beanbag toss. I don't know what it's called. But we followed a white rabbit who ended up at that thing. And so we're like, well, are we supposed to play this game? We're not really sure. So, of course, we asked the dice, should we play this beanbag game? We throw the dice, and it came out a 4, which was an even number, which means yes. So we're like, okay, I guess we're going to play this beanbag. So we had to wait in line because there was one team already playing, and we were going to be next. And on the very last throw that this guy had, he throws the beanbag, and it nails my dog. And, of course, my dog kind of pulls it, as it got hit by this beanbag. We were obviously too close to this game. And as soon as we said that, Iru yells at the guy, hey, man, come on, you're hitting the dog. Be careful over here. And the guy yells back in Spanish. Iru yells back in Spanish. The next thing we know, they're hugging because they're both from Argentina. So, I mean, the chances, it was insane.
No, and we start talking about the flat earth and things like that. But it's almost you cannot even.
You can't explain it.
You can't explain that.
No.
Yeah, and you have a lot of this.
There's a story. People who are attuned to intuition. I know someone who's been writing about intuition for years, and is a good friend of mine. He runs on the street, and he always was running always in one way, and he always kind of gives money to the people who are begging on the street. He makes a point of doing this. And then one day he was running one direction, and he felt something. He's like, no, I need to run the other direction. He decided to go off on a different street. When he goes to this beggar, the guy is somebody he knew, who had lost everything. It's somebody he knew that used to work in the building where he lives. And he managed to help this guy go back home.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I bet all that stuff is true. I mean, I can't. This guy said, JQ just said, come to New York City and we'll play and try not to get killed. Yeah. Jump on the game can't be jump on a taxi or something.
Yeah, because in New York you couldn't do that. Like seriously, I with a friend of mine from Brazil, I was there. Not with him. He went with another friend of mine, a good friend of mine. And he talks to people on the street if they try to talk to him. So he's very naive. And in New York, they were walking on the street, and some guy started talking to him, and he decided to talk to the guy. Next thing you know, these guys followed them into a McDonald's and stole them inside the McDonald's, and nobody did anything.
Robbed them, you mean?
Robbed, took their money. Bullied them into giving their money. It's like two big black guys with big jackets followed them because my friend decided to go talk. So it's like this idea of let's try to help somebody, in New York.
If you have that. If you have that kind of energy it doesn't matter if in New York or Amsterdam. I mean, don't play it. Yeah, you need to be like a clean mind. You need to be in a good humor.
Looking for the universe
nice
to talk to you.
No, but it never. In São Paulo, for instance, in São Paulo in downtown, I would not recommend you to do this because being there and being from there, I know that there are people there who are just looking to try to do something who can come after you.
Well, we can create some kind of rule and advice from, in this city and that city is not allowed to play this game,
No, not allowed. I mean, I'm saying the locals who know, right, if it's safe or not, certain times at night, you're not going to go out in some places. It's just good sense from knowing where you are, right? Where we did it was fine.
It's really highly recommend to play this. In particular, when you are with friends in your house and you start to get boring, maybe inside your house,
right?
You can go outside and play this game just for half hour or until you manifest what you supposedly ask for in manifestation. So it's a really nice game. You must do the video about the Barcelona, man.
I'm gonna try.
You are the only one. You are the only one who have that records. I don't have nothing about that.
I have to do it, but it reminded me of one of my favorite things, which is to, and I haven't done this so long, find a very big library that has lots of things. There used to be one in the University of Utah, which is particularly good for this, and just literally get lost, not know where you're going, just walk around. I used to really find things that I was looking for that way, like literally not looking, just walking down the aisles, like, okay, I think I'm going to turn left, and okay, here, boom. And then I find books that, just pick it up, and it was like, wow, yeah,
Right.
It
teaches you to enjoy the people you're with a lot more. It teaches you to be open to everything, to keeping your eyes open, because now we're so dialed into what what phones are telling us and what GPS is saying, where direction I need to go, where do I need to go, I need to be there by this time. This completely erases all that. You don't use GPS at all. You're following other people. You're walking in certain directions. You're open to looking all around you and keeping your eyes peeled for everything that the universe tries to tell you. I think it's amazing.
Another thing you're gonna get a crack out of this, which is another thing which anthropologists that go and live with some indigenous communities, especially in Canada and US and Northwest Coast, they say, okay, let's go hunting. He's talking with the guys, let's go hunting, and it's this time, right? Let's do it at that time. And people don't show up in time. There's no way you can. They would joke it's Indian time, but. And this guy tells a story that they're supposed to go hunting. Suddenly, everybody just shows up at the same time. They felt was the right time. That was the time. They couldn't decide beforehand, let's do it at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. It was more of a feeling, and they all knew that they were going to do it. But then suddenly they all appeared in the same way, which is being attuned to something completely different. It's like, it's not about the time that you put on a paper. It's about the right feeling. But in some of these communities, some people just have the same synchronicity. It's the same resonance, kind of like they understand that they need to be there at that time, but they feel and get there at the same time without actually having to say, they have a plan, but they don't have the exact time, but they still make it, which is...
For example, for example, right now, they are including this, guy on the street to drop the dice. And this video start that they want to manifest like this Alice in the Wonderland, and look at the hat of the guy,
right?
And not just the hat, the physical body, the face, the cloth that this guy start is like the Alice in the Wonderland.
Yeah.
And I have been playing this video like 40 minutes, so I mean the complete group was walking like 1 hour, and ended in this particular guy with this particular hat, which is the same hat and the same dress. And not only that, he has also a T-shirt about the Wonderland, the Alice in the Wonderland. So that
so
kind of thing
comes
happens.
over to see everybody's talking to him. That's great.
Yeah, and So I don't want to forget mention it because Linda told me here via cell phone. This was the guy who created this game, or at least that we are aware about this game. It's called Todd Akamesis. He has his own YouTube channel. You can find it there. You can also
14
add
million
in the comments.
Oh no, that's 1,000. Sorry. Okay.
No.
I forget.
4,000, 40,000.
You guys can't get your shit together over there.
Subscriber. He also teach. He has a school that teach to have this experience, out of body experience, things like that. Because this game, the main goal of this game is to develop your consciousness awareness, and how to read the signs. Because you can play this game, but you can also use for your own purposes and your own goals, if you want to see in that way. It's a metaphysic game.
Right.
And I not just
Pseudoscience.
believe in that. I trying to practice all the time, because that is what bring me to this topic about the flat earth and other things. I know that my English is not good, but I'm started all this like 10 years ago, having my first out of body experience. I know there is a lot of controversy about that topic, but that was what happened to me. I'm start saying, okay, the death is not when you die is not finish anything, the things keep going. So I want to learn how to move in that plane of existence, and that was my journey start. I'm start with metaphysics, then with all the occultism and symbolism behind all these elites, and then with the flat earth. And in the meantime, I really recommend the new shamanic medicine, which is something that you can use all the time in your daily basis. But this is the main goal of this kind of game,
All right. Awesome. So hopefully people enjoyed that. And the reason we did that is because a lot of people have asked us to explain what the synchronicity walk is, because we've talked about it before. So good. Now we can direct them to the last hour of the show, and we're done doing that. So that's awesome. And Just a thank you to everyone for watching. We're already at the 3-hour mark, so we're going to cut it off here. I do appreciate it. Doesn't look like Owen joined us today. Maybe he'll join us another time. Who knows?
And Bob's still here?
I don't know where Bob is. Bob
still here.
Oh, he's just
I've
listening.
just been listening.
Oh, man.
Along, going, wow.
Bob, did we bore you
He
to
was
death?
started to the religious church, maybe. The papers.
He's filling
The
out
papers.
the
Actually, I want to play the game now. I mean,
Right.
this is like cool. I love stuff
Yeah,
like that.
Bob, please play it with Saga, with all the people there.
Yeah.
You're gonna really have
You got
fun.
a lot of
man.
people close by you, so Bob, you can definitely go out and do it with just the people in your house. You've got Sharon and Cammie and Zach, and you guys could be off and doing this in the streets of Denver by this evening. So, it's definitely
it's
fun
funny
to do in those big
people. I
cities.
know. I was watching some people in the chat, and then some of them are like, "Oh, it's like a Ouija board," or
No.
So it's like, "Oh, come on, give me a break, man."
You'll always get those kinds.
Yeah,
and
it's,
that's,
I mean, that's
what are
a
you gonna do?
typical thing. I expect that to happen because I've seen it out. Even with people who might know a little bit more. When I was mentioning some spiritual things that happen in Brazil that everyone knows is Christian, everyone knows is actually good in many ways. It helps people, and then the remark was that, oh yeah, that's demonic activity. So it's very odd that anything that you mentioned, which is not the Bible, if you're here, if Ida was here pulling out verses from the Bible and saying a bunch of stuff, then people wouldn't have a problem. Is because we talked about intuition, consciousness, I Ching, games, or finding different ways, cards. That's why I also, I'm also on this because I created a game, which is a card game with music that reduces all the harmonic knowledge into a card set, and you can create songs, you can create harmonies, and it's very similar. It's about activating the intuition so that people don't do formulaic music anymore. But they're gonna say, yeah, you're playing with spirits, or people have a drink of alcohol, they could be letting something into their bodies.
Right.
That's why they call it spirits, after all, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
So no, people can say whatever they want, but if you do anything with good
Yeah.
intentions and you have nothing but positivity in your mind, then that's what radiates. That's
what
all
I
that
think.
matters.
That's what you attract. Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
so
couldn't
people
agree
can
more with
say
that.
whatever they want, and if they're taking from this that we're doing anything demonic or anything, then that's just whatever. It's up to them. Go ahead and feel that way. So if you didn't enjoy the last hour of the show, it's okay. It's okay. If you didn't enjoy the entire 3 hours, it's okay. Relax, take a deep breath, go watch something you enjoy. You will be fine. It's okay. Everybody will be here tomorrow, we think. So let's just close it out and say goodbye to everybody. And then, I just say a big thank you to everyone for watching. And sorry we've been gone for a little while. People know that my mom passed away 2.5 weeks ago. So I'm just getting back into the swing of things and getting everything back in order. And we'll bring this show back, and we've had Glowbusters back, jeranism Raw's back. I'll be able to bring some videos back soon. So I just appreciate everyone. There's been a lot of people contact me through Skype, through messages, through emails, through texts, and I don't want to say it a million times every show, so I'm just saying again, thank you so much if you reached out. I really appreciate it. It really helped get through some tough times and will help me move forward. And so just a big thank you. But let's start out with everybody saying their goodbyes. Let's start with Rodrigo. Just tell everybody where they can find you and anything going on this week that you have coming up.
Oof, so many things are still working. Gonna get some videos out. Nothing on the lineup right now because I'm finishing some work. Also trying to write a few things. Lots going on, and getting ready for my dad to come visit here at the end of the year. And of course, we're expecting a baby. Have to take care of all that, and in the middle of that. So I really appreciate that you have me here, Jaron, so much. Thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys, and Iru and Bob and you. Amazing. Thank you for having this. And yeah, hopefully we'll continue bringing some. Maybe I'll present something next time because I feel like I'm lazy here compared to Iru with the 5 presentations a night. I need to kind of compensate.
No, I know. I feel the same way. So we'll get that over time. But that's the great thing about the show is we have no real topic. We're just having a little chat, having a little fun, and I don't care if we get 500 views on this show because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy hearing what Rodrigo's opinion on things is, and Iru and Bob, and having a free kind of chat where we're able to talk about this synchronicity game where we're able to talk about flat Earth being a religion. We're just able to throw anything, or not, whatever. We're just able to throw it out there. And like I said, if people don't like it, it wouldn't bother me if the show got down to 500 viewers. If it got down to 4 viewers, then maybe we would talk about, hey, we can just do this on a Skype call. We don't need to have it on my channel. But as long as people are enjoying it, and so far that's what I hear from everybody. And again, find it on your local podcast player, whatever your favorite podcast streaming service is. Search for the Jeranism Friday Lounge, and you've got 3 hours of something to listen to while you work or while you drive or whatever. So let's go to Bob. Bob, what's going on with Globebusters Sunday? What's coming up? What do you have in the works?
Okay, well, as far as Globebusters, I honestly don't know. I've got so many things that I consider all week long,
right.
And it seems like, comes Saturday or Saturday night, or even sometimes Sunday morning, I finally zero in on one topic, and kind of name the show after that. But other than that, there will be a show. I just don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. But
right.
Other than that, right now, I don't know if you guys knew or not, but Cami was asked to join Iron Realm Media on a permanent basis.
Wow.
And yeah, that's pretty cool. So she's kind of their female voice there, and they are live right now. So I will be. I'm just posting a note in the chat. So if you guys want to continue the party, join us over at Iron Realm Media, and kind of go over there. That's somewhere to go after the Jeranism after show. And that's about all I have.
Awesome. Sounds fun. So yeah, so everybody should check us out on Sunday. And like I said, in the show links or in the description here, I have links to all Rodrigo's stuff. His YouTube channel, his Patreon. We've got the same with Globebusters. There's 2 links under Globebusters. Of course, the Globebusters channel where we do the live show every Sunday at 12 noon Pacific. And then also is the link to the 24/7 channel, which is up and going well. Every time I check it, there's 35, 45 people in there watching, which is awesome and refreshing. But hopefully we can get some more people. If you're ever looking for something to watch, check out that link, which is the Globebusters 24/7 channel. And then under our next guest, who is Iru, we've got lots of links as well to his English channel, to his Spanish channel, to his Patreon, and to his website. So Iru's got a lot going on. Iru, let us know if you've got anything coming up, or are we just going to see you Sunday for Globebusters?
Yeah, first of all, you lend me at the last because I am the third world country.
Yes,
that's okay.
Right.
I know
hate.
that.
That's hate. See, that's why we need a church.
Yeah,
man.
that's hate. Exactly, man. Come on.
It's actually love.
Please.
It's actually love. I don't want to put you at the beginning.
World Party Countries Church. No, I was really, I mentioned this and I made like a super tiny presentation at the end of the Globebuster show, but I was really busy with all these crazy media that cover all the flat Earth topic again. We trolling the system again, if you want to see in that way, and was really proactive because we was in the main.
So many interviews that you did, right? You did 10 interviews?
10 interviews in the last 6 days with the really big radio shows.
Wow.
Some of those interviews and another more small, but outside the capital city. So that is nice because you bring the topic to, internal to the interior of the country. That is very important for us. I was participating in a few televisions program too, and I transferred that to my YouTube channel. I trying to put some images in the video and make the all the information available for the Spanish community. Yesterday I have my radio show, so I uploading that to my YouTube channel also. And I have I have an Instagram with 10,000 followers, and I'm starting to use the Instagram television, so I've started to replicate the same thing as YouTube into the Instagram. Because they allow you to put to upload it 1 hour video files, So I was busy with that. I really appreciate all the support that I receive via Patreon. That is the most helpful things to me, really, because I always say, I'm start to, I don't have much time to do the same work that I used to do the last year in my own studio. So I really appreciate all the people that support me in Patreon, because I'm start to use that to cover my trips, my conference, and my daily basis situation. So the rest is as always. I have prepared a few things for this show, but we ran out of time, so maybe we can present it in the Globebuster or the next week. So thank you for everyone to help me to keep my channels on.
Yeah, sounds great. And I always have to say, a big shout out and thank you to all the patrons who, make this possible. And the great thing, the reason why this was called today, Still Crushing, is because obviously we talked about it at the beginning. And I thought Owen was going to join us, but I guess he got caught up. And I think he'll be on Monday Night Raw. That's at least the working hypothesis, but maybe not, but we'll see. But I called it Still Crushing just because I feel a lot better today knowing that even if YouTube does take us down on December 10th or whatever, 8th or whatever the day it was supposed to be, this YouTube apocalypse, and if that happens, then I feel great. And I think part of that is knowing that I've still got patrons who are still contributing and still supporting me for the content I produce, and whether it's here on YouTube or whether it's on D Live or whether it's on DTube or wherever it is, to know that I still have people that will watch, to know that I still have people that can support, and to know that we still have a venue and that it's not the end of things just makes me feel a bunch better, and that's why it's called Still Crushing. And obviously, people like Iru doing 10 interviews in the last 6 days is absolutely crushing. That's exactly what we're talking about. So Flat Earth isn't going anywhere. That's the way it is. It's my belief, and people more and more every day are coming to this and looking into it, and it's no longer a taboo topic that you can bring up and everybody looks at you like you're crazy. You may get some people still look at you like you're crazy, but other people are open to the idea and certainly open to the topic, and that's all that we've ever asked, is that people take a second look at everything they've been taught, because in my opinion, everything you've been taught is a lot of horse malarkey and nonsense. So hopefully people see that themselves. Thank you to everyone who sent in a super chat. And just one more time, because it is in the description, I want to bring up just so you can see, Owen Benjamin's link to his D-Live is Owen Benjamin Comedy. So you can just type in dlive.tv/Owen Benjamin Comedy. And the last 2 days he's been going live for a few hours, about 9 or 10 in the morning. And I bet you he'll continue doing that, especially because he's getting almost double the amount of live viewers that he was basically before. When he was doing on YouTube, he was getting 4,000 or 5,000. Now he's getting 8 or 9. I just think that's a breath of fresh air. I think everyone should be celebrating that even if you no longer have a YouTube, you have somewhere to go. So I'm excited about that. So again, thank you to all my patrons who make this possible and make me feel better about going forward. They've completely changed my life. That's the bottom line. Patrons have done that. YouTube has done that. People like Bob have done that. Dave, Iru and I were talking.
Oh, people like you guys, because your 3 are my patrons. So thank you so much.
But you've got more than 3. Come on. No, but it's just been a real breath of fresh air. I mean, Iru and I were talking about if we lived in the same city, we would probably be over each other's houses all the time, just talking, just making videos, doing all kinds of things. That's what's so great about these conferences. When we get together and we get to hang out, it just really tells us that, hey, these are real friends. That's why I think anybody who's been to the conference would think the same thing. And if you haven't yet got a chance to go to a meetup, you definitely should do it. If you're in the Denver area, Bob's talking about these weekly meetings that he's having and that they're growing. And when you get to see the quality of people at these events, it will definitely change your opinion when you see the quality of people that come from the Globe Belief, the Simon Dans, the Fight the Flat Earths, the Reds Rhetorics that are just nauseating and annoying to no end. And when you see the kind of people that come out of a flat Earth belief, when you recognize that you've been lied to, and that the stars aren't trillions of miles away, and the sun isn't 93 million miles away, and 860,000 miles wide. Once you get those things out of your brain that have been cemented in there from a young age, you realize how important the world is and how awesome it all is. So I hope everyone gets a chance to do that. And if you don't, that's okay. Don't watch me anymore. Go watch another channel. I will be just fine. It's fine. I've got a good Patreon group, and if they don't like me anymore and they leave, there'll be more that'll come along that will like and appreciate the work that I do. And that's what we all hope for. So follow Iru, follow Rodrigo, of course follow Globebusters. Support them if you can. If you're already a patron of mine, support them as well. I would even say that if you're giving me $5 a month, make it $3 and give $1 to Iru and give $1 to Rodrigo, as long as you still give me more than them. everything. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but the real fact is, I don't know, and I know that is the same thing that as me, but I changed my life in terms of the time that I spend. You know, if you make a balance, I really changed my balance in terms of how much time I put in because I have my own visual effects studio, and I have my own my own graphic design graphic studio. So I'm start to dedicate more time to the research and to participate in all these radio show, and have my own radio show, and trying to get involved with the community, and trying to bring the message into the mass media and all that kind of stuff that take you a lot of time. So I start to make the balance, and it's really hard to get that equilibrium. In some point, you're going to decide, okay, I have this limited hour and time, so what am I going to do? I'm going to put my effort into this topic or into my studio, in my case. So I decided to put in this topic. I have the combinations, I like to do the same things like my own motion graphics to my own videos. So I, in some way that make me happy, because I can do what I love, which is creating art in the digital way and putting into something like the research of the flatter topic that also bring me happy. So that is where I am now. But it's it's
life-changing.
It's life-changing, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel the same way, and I know a lot of people feel the same way, and it's been great. The amount of people I've met in the last 5 years, amazing people. I could never say thank you enough. So just saying a big thank you, and to everyone for joining us, and sorry we're long-winded, but that's the way it goes. So 3.5 hours today. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and like I said a million times, if you didn't, oh well, you'll get over it. You'll watch something else. So any final words from anybody, or are we all good?
Nope.
Goodbye,
I'm just pasting in the DLive link for Globebusters. Unfortunately, Globebusters was taken, so I made the channel name Globebusters-FE. So it's DLive TV /Globebusters-FE. Go over there, give us a sub, because we may need to use it at some point. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thanks to everybody. Yeah, and by next week, I'll have a DLive up, and then I'll also figure out how to use this mixer exactly, and maybe we'll be simulcasting on 3 venues, maybe Twitch, YouTube, and DLive. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens, but appreciate everybody watching so much. And as always, I remind you to do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Till Sunday, guys, this has been Jeranism and the crew at the Friday Lounge. Till next time, peace.
Peace.
Peace.